According to an ancient legend passed down through the martial world, if a grandmaster grasps the ultimate truth of the Tao, they can touch the very heavens. It was said they would seek a chosen vessel, someone to inherit their glorious, unfinished destiny, to guide them to the absolute martial peak, the young heir of the fire dragon sect, 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔. Like many others, he thought it was just a foolish myth. That was, until the ancient spirit actually chose him. The legend was suddenly real. Unrivaled power surged through his mortal veins. No one beneath the heavens could stand against him. He was absolutely certain he would rule the entire martial world. But destiny is a cruel master. After decades of endless bloodshed and horrific, forbidden experiments to achieve true immortality, the ancient spirit went completely silent. The once proud ruler decayed into a miserable, pathetic old man. Why had his master abandoned him? The agonizing question haunted his every waking breath. Then, suddenly, a breathless disciple barged into the grand hall. He brought miraculous news of absolute success. In his hands, the elixir of eternal life, and beside him, the ultimate test subject. It was the sole survivor of countless gruesome trials. A tragic, innocent child, now violently warped into an unrecognizable, grotesque monster. Yet, its broken soul remained perfectly intact. The child's memories fueled a blazing, unstoppable hatred. It screamed vicious curses at its tormentors. "You destroyed my family! I will curse you to the deepest pits of hell!" But the arrogant disciple merely sneered. To him, the child was nothing but disposable trash, stripped of all human rights. He ruthlessly yanked the heavy chain choking the boy's neck. "Shut your mouth! Who gave a mere test subject permission to speak?" he barked viciously. Then, he turned to his master with a sickening, triumphant grin. "Do you see this masterpiece, master? Unlike the previous failures, this one retains its mind. It has survived for weeks without a single drop of water, or a single grain of rice." But 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 felt no joy. His aged eyes stared in pure, unadulterated disgust. He slowly rose from his throne, his voice trembling with dark, suffocating fury. "Enough! I have suffered for decades to reach the absolute pinnacle, and this twisted abomination is all you can offer? You absolute fool! Trash like you could never comprehend the true Tao." The immense aura of the Grandmaster crushed the room. The disciple froze in sheer terror. Cold sweat drenched his trembling face as he stammered. "Please, master, I just need a little more time. I beg of you." Watching his master violently cough up dark, corrupted blood, he shrieked in desperation. "I will perfect the immortality formula." But �𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔's patience had completely dried up. Using his overwhelming demonic arts, he forced the elixir down the disciple's screaming throat. The disciple thrashed in pure, mind-shattering agony. "What is happening to me? My body. It is moving on its own." The cursed elixir violently rewrote his very flesh. In seconds, the arrogant apprentice became a hideous beast, identical to the very monsters he had heartlessly created. "Master, please spare me," it wailed in endless, pathetic torment. Yet, the old patriarch was in no better shape. He coughed violently, his trembling hands painted in his own dark blood. A single, maddening thought echoed in his mind. Why won't the spirit answer me? He knew the ancient presence still dwelled within his core, hiding deep inside his decaying, mortal vessel. His face twisted in agonizing ambition as he screamed at the heavens. "Give me the secret! Bestow upon me the immortal body!" Finally, the ancient spirit materialized, but its cold voice brought only devastating mockery. "You absolute fool! The immortal body has already been perfected." At that exact moment, explosive killing intent erupted. The mutated child, consumed by boundless vengeance, lunged at the patriarch's back like a rabid demon. But a grandmaster is not so easily slain. �𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 spun around with blinding speed, his legendary aura flaring with terrifying, earth-shattering intensity. He raised his razor-sharp aura claws to obliterate the boy, but his mind was shattering with profound disbelief. He screamed in ultimate betrayal. "After all these decades, you chose this pathetic trash as your vessel instead of me? I sacrificed everything for your grand mission, and you dare cast me aside?" The spirit's mocking laughter echoed in the void. "You claim the grand mission is complete? You blind, arrogant fool! You have never even glimpsed the absolute truth of this world. How truly pathetic. Very well, let me show you absolute despair." �𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 froze in sheer, paralyzing horror. He stared down at his violently trembling hands. "Is this Is this the ultimate truth? Was my legendary power truly this insignificant? Before he could process the shattering revelation, the vengeful child was already upon him. A rusted blade flashed in the dim light. Crimson blood painted the cold stone floor. The child carved out his brutal revenge, plunging the dagger into the old master again and again. As the patriarch drowned in his own blood, the ancient spirit whispered to the blood-soaked boy, "Do you despise this world for slaughtering your kin? Then let me be your blade of ruin." Outside the grand hall, utter chaos erupted. The sect members felt a terrifying shift in the atmosphere. A heaven-defying, blood-red aura exploded into the night sky. They smashed through the doors, only to find their invincible master dead, and a small, blood-drenched boy sitting over the corpse. Boiling with murderous rage, they drew their heavenly blades. "We will slaughter you." Inside the boy's mind, the spirit offered a dark, unbreakable pact. "I will give you absolute power, but in return, you must crush every sect in Murim beneath your heel. Let absolutely no one stand above you. When that day comes, we shall claim the heavens." That night, the entire Fire Dragon sect was erased from existence. Not a single legendary blade could even scratch the demonic child. Years passed. A lone wanderer in a bamboo hat walked down a desolate path. This was no ordinary traveler. He was the legendary Sword Emperor, a title that struck fear into the hearts of millions across Murim. Yet, even he knew he was not truly invincible. His footsteps led him toward the grand mansion of the Fire Dragon sect. He pushed open the heavy wooden doors. "It has been a long time, old friends." Inside, the absolute titans of the martial world were gathered. The Fist King, bearing his iconic, terrifying facial scars, nodded grimly. "Indeed, it has." The Northern Empress narrowed her beautiful but deadly eyes, thinking, what disaster could force them to summon even the Sword Emperor? Next to her, the Shaolin abbot simply pressed his palms together in silent, heavy prayer. The current lord of the Fire Dragon sect stepped forward. 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒏𝒈 bowed deeply, his face etched with supreme respect. "I greet the legendary Sword Emperor. I trust the heavens have treated you well?" The Sword Emperor scoffed, waving off the empty formalities. "Save the useless chatter. Did you really think I would not notice the shadow guards trailing me? Spit it out. Why did you summon this old man?" 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒏𝒈 straightened his posture, his face turning deadly serious. "Very well. I will discard the pleasantries and speak of the impending apocalypse. Wudong, Southern Edge, MANHWA, and countless other legendary factions, all entirely annihilated by a single, terrifying master. We know absolutely nothing of his true identity or his cursed motives. The few broken souls who survived his slaughter call him a demon of war. The martial world knows him only as the Mad Demon. We have gathered the absolute strongest today, to end his reign of blood right here and now." But just outside the courtyard walls, silent footsteps echoed in the dark. The Mad Demon had already arrived. The demonic sovereign took a slow, menacing step toward the grand manor. Reaching the main gates, a devastating explosion erupted from his mere presence. The massive doors and everything around them disintegrated into ash, leaving the martial artists inside staring in pure, frozen terror. Slowly, he lowered the dark veil hiding his face. An arrogant, spine-chilling smirk twisted his lips. He spoke, his voice dripping with absolute dominance. "After tracking down that overwhelming aura, it seems I have returned to a very familiar place." His piercing gaze swept the room. "To think the 5 great generals of the Murim would gather in one spot. You must have been desperately waiting for my arrival." With those mocking words, he began to step toward the supreme masters, his demonic blade thirsting for blood. The Sword Emperor, a legend of the Orthodox faction, remained unfazed by this arrogant display. His eyes narrowed as a heavy realization hit him. It really is him, the Mad Demon, he thought, feeling the oppressive killing intent. That terrifying title was no exaggeration. It feels like standing face to face with the Grim Reaper himself. Yet, the Grandmaster's martial spirit did not waver. Because in this ultimate crisis, he had to protect the martial world. Aura flared around him as he unsheathed his legendary blade. His face hardened with righteous fury as he declared, "Your mere existence is reason enough for these old bones to swing a sword one last time." The Mad Demon tilted his head, feigning a look of complete shock. Suddenly, the air shattered. The Sword Emperor utilized his ultimate phantom footwork, instantly vanishing from his spot. He materialized directly in front of the demonic sovereign. A majestic roar echoed through the hall. Heavenly sword art. First stance. A storm of blinding sword ki instantly sliced the mad demon into bloody pieces. As the devastating attack came to an end, the Sword Emperor calmly sheathed his blade. The severed limbs of the supreme demon now littered the ruined floor. Watching this, the Fist King, 𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆�, let out a heavy sigh of bitter disappointment. Old man, you need to chill out. How completely pathetic. Is it really over? Just like this? I told you, fools. All those terrifying legends about the mad demon. They were nothing but absolute garbage. But contrary to the Fist King's arrogant confidence, the other supreme masters were frozen in absolute horror. Noticing their pale faces, 𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆� frowned. Hey, what the hell is wrong with your expressions? Before he could even finish his sentence, a chilling, guttural laugh echoed from the severed head. Wow, that actually stung a little. It far exceeded my expectations. Witnessing this grotesque nightmare, 𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 stumbled back, his tough exterior shattering. What the hell is this? He screamed. The terrifying truth unfolded before their very eyes. Blood vessels shot out like demonic webs, dragging the mad demon's severed limbs back to his torso, fusing perfectly together, as if the fatal slashes were just an illusion. The Fist King's arrogant smirk vanished completely. Cold sweat cascaded down his trembling face as true fear gripped his soul. Am I having a nightmare right now? He thought frantically. He simply could not comprehend the demonic revival happening before his eyes. Beside him, 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒏𝒈 clutched his dizzy head, his eyes widening in pure dread. This is impossible. Could that truly be the legendary demonic art? The forbidden technique, said to grant absolute immortality? The immortal demonic body? Good heavens, it actually exists? Shattering his horrified internal monologue, the newly regenerated mad demon locked his blood-red eyes onto the masters. He flashed a devilish grin and chuckled. Color me impressed. Well then, shall we turn up the entertainment a notch? With a sinister hum, the mad demon slowly drew the cursed blade from his back. Seeing the incoming slaughter, 𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 roared furiously. At the Sword Emperor, Elder, what the hell are you doing standing there? Get the hell away from that monster. But the legendary swordsman remained perfectly still, frozen like a statue. The mad demon let out a spine-chilling, maniacal cackle. His sadistic gaze shifted back to the unmoving elder. Oh, you do not need to worry about this old bag of bones. Our little playdate is already over. The truth was terrifying. During that split-second heavenly sword strike, the mad demon had secretly landed a devastating counterblow. The master's internal organs were completely ruptured. A massive pool of crimson blood suddenly exploded from the Sword Emperor's stomach, flooding the stone floor. Without a single word, the Grand Master collapsed face first into his own blood, drawing his final, tragic breath. As a legend of the Orthodox faction died like a dog, the mad demon casually stepped over his corpse. A psychotic, bloodthirsty grin split his face. All right then, which one of you prays wants to die next? 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔's face contorted in absolute fury. He ground his teeth so hard they nearly shattered, letting out a beastly growl of pure hatred. The Northern Ice Empress, 𝒔𝒐𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔, shot him a sharp glare. Keep your killing intent in check, she warned coldly. 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒏𝒈, as the Lord of the Fire Dragon sect, do you not know the secrets behind this monster? Is there truly no countermeasure? 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒏𝒈 wiped his sweat, replying grimly. I cannot be absolutely certain, but I recall reading about this cursed demonic art in our most forbidden ancient texts. Meanwhile, the Fist King's sanity was rapidly snapping with every passing second, staring at the pathetic, lifeless corpse of the great Sword Emperor. 𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔's blood boiled to an explosive degree. His wrath could no longer be contained. Suddenly, the very air around the Fist King began to warp and distort. A terrifying, suffocating aura of destruction erupted from his core. The absolute killing intent grew heavier by the millisecond. 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒏𝒈 instantly recognized this catastrophic gathering of ki. He violently whipped his head toward the berserk warrior, but he was too late. The supreme iron fists of 𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 had already ignited with a volcano of absolute rage. Completely ignoring the desperate warnings of his allies, 𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 smashed his foot into the earth with titanic force. Boom! The entire courtyard shattered, sending massive boulders floating into the air from the sheer pressure. Raising his glowing fist to the heavens, he unleashed a beastly, earth-shaking roar. You arrogant demonic scum! How dare you disrespect the Orthodox faction? I will obliterate your very soul. Like a fired cannonball, the Fist King launched himself at the Mad Demon, carrying enough kinetic power to level a mountain. The Mad Demon's eyes flashed with twisted excitement. A sinister grin stretched from ear to ear. "Oh ho? So this is the legendary Fist King?" he mocked. Instantly, Yubi unleashed his ultimate secret technique. The Heavenly Hurricane Fist. The catastrophic shockwave of the punch was so immense that the very bedrock beneath them completely vaporized into dust. Bam! The meteor-like fist crashed directly into the Mad Demon's torso, but instead of dying, the sheer destructive force of the impact only fueled the villain's psychotic thrill. Adrenaline pumped through his demonic veins as he cackled like a madman. Yes, yes, that is the power I wanted. I expected nothing less from a supreme grandmaster. Under the sheer pressure of the key, the demon's physical vessel began to literally disintegrate. Then, an apocalyptic explosion detonated from the point of impact. Debris rained down like meteors, as massive rings of roaring flames instantly incinerated the rest of the manor. Watching this godlike display of destruction, 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒏𝒈 felt a chill run down his spine, the sheer destructive output of the Fist King's martial art. It truly surpasses mortal limits, he thought in awe. But even with such heaven-defying power, that monster simply cannot be killed like this. Amidst the smoke, the Fist King's face suddenly drained of all color. Absolute panic set in. Trembling violently, heavy sweat poured down Yubi's bruised face. "This is impossible. How? How can this be happening? My ultimate explosive fist landed a direct, fatal hit. Yet, instead of dying, this bastard's demonic aura is actually multiplying?" Before the Grandmaster's brain could even process the despair, a sinister voice sliced through the heavy smoke. The Mad Demon emerged completely unscathed, dripping with arrogant supremacy. "I must give credit where credit is due. That martial technique was absolutely exquisite. Fist King Yubi." His demonic eyes glowed with greed. "It is so good. I think I will gladly take it for myself." In a terrifying display of pure genius, Dark Ki swirled violently around the Mad Demon's arm. He was perfectly mirroring the exact same destructive frequency of the Fist King. The ultimate orthodox technique, the Heavenly Hurricane Fist, was completely copied and weaponized by demonic hands. Only this time, the output was exponentially more catastrophic. Boom! When the absolute devastation finally cleared, the one lying in a pool of blood was not Yubi. It was the revered Shaolin Grandmaster Hone, throwing himself in front of the demonic shockwave to save the Fist King. The holy monk had sacrificed both of his arms. His golden Buddha palms were completely obliterated into nothingness. Seeing his prey stolen, the Mad Demon's smile vanished. "Hey, you bald old fossil," he snarled in irritation. "Who told you to interfere? It was not your turn to die yet." Master Han, his eyes glazed with pain, let out a heavy, bloody sigh. Turning his gaze to the demon, the holy monk rebuked him with unyielding, righteous spirit. "Cease your arrogant boasting, you foolish demon." The Mad Demon lazily covered his mouth, letting out a condescending, mocking giggle. "Oh my. The irony is physically hurting me. Aren't you the one missing both of his arms right now? Seems to me like you are the one in a pathetic situation." Still in shock, Yubi fell to his knees, staring at the crippled monk. A crushing wave of guilt suffocated the Fist King. "Master Honorable, I am so sorry. If I had not been so reckless." But the Shaolin Master firmly cut off his desperate apologies. There was no room for regret on the battlefield. "Bite your tongue, Fist King," Master Hone commanded with Buddhist authority. "If you had not struck first, I would have risked my own life anyway. Bury your guilt. We must focus every ounce of our spiritual energy on executing this demonic beast, before everything we know is reduced to ashes." While the Orthodox masters braced for a final stand, the Mad Demon tilted his head, seemingly lost in deep calculation. Suddenly, a twisted, euphoric realization lit up his demonic features. He grinned maniacally at the bleeding monk, a physical vessel capable of tanking the ultimate Heavenly Hurricane Fist. "Tell me, old monk, could your body possess the legendary diamond indestructible physique?" The moment those greedy words left his mouth, swish! The demonic sovereign vanished into thin air, launching a blinding assassination strike directly at Master Han. His speed broke the sound barrier. Realizing the desperate crisis, the Northern Ice Empress, Jin Sohee, unleashed her explosive aura, her beautiful face twisted in icy fury as she roared. "Stop this madness at once, you demon!" Channeling the absolute zero ki of the North, she unsheathed the legendary Frost Blossom sword. Swoosh! A devastating supreme slash pierced right through the mad demon's chest. Immediately, a terrifying, absolute zero frost began to violently spread, freezing the villain's demonic blood and flesh into solid ice. Yet, instead of screaming in agony, the monster merely cast a lazy, side-eyed glance at the Empress. "Oh ho, is this the legendary yin ice technique of the North Sea Ice Palace?" he whispered, completely amused. "I have only read about this in ancient myths." Gritting her teeth through the immense key drain, Jin Sohee spat back. "Shut your mouth, you filthy monster." But the mad demon simply, a terrifying frost gripped my very soul. It chilled me straight to the bone. Yes, the 5 great generals of the Murim truly lived up to their legendary names. Every single one of them had reached the absolute peak of martial arts. I absolutely loved the thrill of it. The Fire Dragon sect leader stepped forward. "I am glad you are enjoying this." Then witnessed the ultimate technique of the Fire Dragon sect. Moving faster than a lightning strike, 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒏𝒈 dashed forward. In one flawless motion, his blade cleaved the crazy demon in 2. But glaring with bloodshot eyes at his severed body, the demon just burst into maniacal laughter. "What is this? Is this all the mighty sect leader can do?" But with absolute confidence, 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒏𝒈 declared, "You shall be imprisoned in eternal darkness." The crazy demon scoffed arrogantly. "What kind of nonsense are you spouting?" But in that exact moment, strange strips of ceiling cloth began bursting outward from his own body. His cocky expression shattered. He looked down in absolute horror, screaming at the top of his lungs. "Ah, what the hell is this? What kind of trick did you play on me?" Moments later, the mystical bandages coiled around the crazy demon like iron chains. He never expected this bizarre martial art to completely drain his demonic chi. His entire body was losing its strength. His face twisted in pure, unadulterated fury, but he was utterly powerless. Ultimately, the dreaded demon was entirely trapped, bound tightly within the cloth like a forgotten ancient mummy. Witnessing this terrifying sealing technique, Han gasped in sheer disbelief. "I have never seen such a martial art in my entire life." "What did you just do?" 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒏𝒈 calmly replied. "That was the heaven-concealing blade. It is a sacred relic passed down only to the leaders of the Fire Dragon sect. Anyone struck by this blade is cursed to live in darkness forever. However, there are no historical records of it ever being used before. Because we do not know how long this seal will hold, we must always remain vigilant." Now we fast forward 3,000 years into the future. The crazy demon was still trapped, completely immobilized beneath that ancient cloth. But the scenery had changed. A room filled with ultra-advanced technology appeared. This was planet GSB Sector 3. Total endurance time 2,600 years. Suddenly, a cheerful voice broke the silence. "Hello there. I am Mac from the Earth Propaganda Team. Please handle these items with care as some of these ancient artifacts are incredibly fragile." An explorer in full gear approached the bright-faced young man. Flashing a dazzling smile, the explorer asked, "Are you the only one here from the Vanguard team?" The young man quickly shook his head. "No, there is one more person with me." At that very moment, a woman was slowly walking into view. Max shifted his gaze toward her and continued, "Ah, the person over there is my companion." Watching her walk away without a word, he muttered to himself, "What is up with her? Why is she walking off alone without saying a single thing?" This naive boy was Mac, representing the Earth Propaganda Team. The woman was steadily approaching a massive door. Right after stepping inside, she dramatically pulled off her dark sunglasses. A radiant smile blossomed across her face. She could not hold back her absolute thrill as she shouted, "I have finally arrived at this damn planet." She was none other than Team Leader Lena from the Earth Propaganda Team. Suddenly, Mac came sprinting from behind, repeatedly calling out her name. "Team Leader Lena! Team Leader!" Startled, she snapped her head back, glaring sharply at the young rookie. "Did you come here just to play around? What are you so excited about?" Mac rubbed his neck awkwardly, forcing a stiff smile. "Well, until the main squad arrives, we do not exactly have much to do, right? Does that not make this a vacation?" Hearing Mac speak so carelessly made Lena sigh in absolute exhaustion. She groaned. "You are quite the bold one, are you not?" After walking a few more steps, Mac put on a surprised expression. "Team Leader, I never expected you to volunteer for the GSB squad." Honestly, Lena did not quite grasp what he was implying. She frowned. "What is that supposed to mean?" Mac hurriedly explained himself. "Well, someone like you who shivers in disgust at the mere thought of aliens suddenly volunteering to come here, a place where every alien species in the universe gathers. Of course I was curious. There are creatures here that cannot even be imagined back on Earth." Seeing Mac happily messing around with a weird monster, Lena quickly warned him. Stop fooling around. It is still dangerous out here. Mac just shrugged it off casually. Oh, come on. Things are completely different now. Inside the tournament, everyone is considered equal. But Lena remained deeply unconvinced. I highly doubt. Those freaks share the same mindset, especially when you look at how insanely arrogant they act. Unbothered, Mac kept playing around, clutching a gift box and a balloon in his hands. He called out Miss Lena. Look at this. She turned back, completely fed up with his childish antics. Walking away, she dropped a final comment. I completely give up on you. Just stay in the exhibition hall. Mac, still utterly clueless, called out after her. Why? What did I do? Lena shot him a lazy but dangerous side glare, raising her voice sharply. You truly have a death wish, do you not? Do you seriously want to hang around these terrifying extraterrestrials? Right after she yelled, the surrounding alien creatures began glaring intensely at them. Panicking, Mac quickly whispered to her. Team leader? Making comments like that could be fatal, even if we are all equals here, Lena scoffed. No, it is dangerous precisely because we are not equals. Hearing Mac spout such naive nonsense left Lena completely speechless. She could only let out a long sigh. What would a greenhorn like you know? Yet, Mac stubbornly tried to defend his logic. No, it has nothing to do with being an alien. If you call anyone disgusting to their face, of course they would get angry. Not wanting to waste another breath debating him, she stopped in her tracks. Lena finally spoke up. We are finally here. Mac blinked in confusion. Wait, we arrived? Lena explained. This is the one place where we can truly stand on equal footing with those monsters. Mac gasped in awe. Is this the GSB tournament arena? As they stepped inside the colossal structure, they were greeted by the booming voice of an alien announcer, screaming at the top of his lungs. Welcome everyone from the far reaches of the cosmos. This is the greatest cosmic festival held only once every 100 years. A realm of absolute opportunity where the ranking of any civilization can skyrocket in an instant. Welcome to the GSB tournament. Max scratched his head, utterly dumbfounded. So the team leader actually came here to watch the fights? But she told Command she was doing a survey. Lena, her eyes locked fiercely on the arena below, casually muttered, I came here to analyze the weaknesses of our enemies. Mac thought to himself, what kind of crazy nonsense is she spouting now? Down in the grand arena, the announcer's voice echoed like thunder. The first competitor is the explosive alien warrior Ani, ranked 972 in the Civilization Index representing the Ite civilization, and facing him is Pong, ranked 9630, representing the Pic civilization. Who will emerge victorious in this brutal clash? We will now begin the preliminary rounds for Group 6. But right before the epic battle could unfold, the scene shifts back to a quiet, dusty storage room. Two explorers in heavy gear were chatting. Hey! Hurry up and clean this place! Got it! As one of the men walked past the 3,000-year-old mummy of the crazy demon, he suddenly froze. A faint, chilling sound was echoing from within the ancient bandages. His eyes widened in shock. Suddenly, his partner yelled out, What are you doing over there? Hurry up! The trembling man turned to his friend. Did you not hear that sound just now? The demonic awakening had begun. What sound? He scoffed. All I hear is your absolute nonsense. He truly wondered if his ears were playing tricks on him. But meanwhile, the ancient seal binding the Demon King finally began to shatter. 500,000 light-years away from Earth, on planet GSP. The Cosmic Martial Arts Tournament had officially commenced. Held once every 100 years, it gathered the absolute strongest civilizations from across the entire universe. Legend stated that the ultimate victor would grasp the Tao, the absolute truth of all creation. They would be entirely freed from worldly suffering, erasing illness, starvation, and the endless cycle of war forever. And the proud, unified government of Earth had finally qualified to enter this divine battlefield. The representative carrying our world's destiny was hailed as the undisputed strongest master on Earth. Everyone believed that reaching the grand finals would be a walk in the park. Even claiming the ultimate cosmic championship seemed entirely within our grasp. But snapping back to the present arena, a devastating battle was unfolding. The announcer's voice echoed like thunder across the stadium. Truly magnificent. They absolutely deserve the title of the Living Flame. The moment the arena's limiters were shattered, a catastrophic sea of hellfire swallowed the entire stage. Pavnon, having barely survived the initial onslaught, was reaching his absolute limit. Gasping for breath, he cursed through gritted teeth. This damned living flame! But Agni was already charging like a blazing demon. With a manic, bloodthirsty grin, he roared, "I will burn your very soul to ashes." The colossal stands erupted into a frenzy of deafening cheers. "Agni! Agni! I bet my entire fortune on you. Show them true despair, Agni." Even the veteran announcer could not contain his explosive excitement. The sheer popularity and dominant aura of this blazing cultivator were completely overwhelming. Meanwhile, Pavnon's spiritual energy was crumbling. He felt utterly suffocated, his fighting spirit shattering as the crowd endlessly chanted his opponent's name. In that fatal split second of despair, while Pavnon blankly stared at the mocking audience, Agni materialized right before his eyes like a phantom of fire. Dripping with absolute arrogance, he sneered, "How dare you look away while facing me in battle?" Only then did the devastating heat of Agni's aura register in Pavnon's mind. He flinched violently, desperately snapping his gaze back. But on this cosmic battlefield, there are absolutely no second chances. Agni unleashed a catastrophic breath of hellfire. The terrifying inferno swallowed the entire martial stage, leaving the spectators trembling at his ruthless, overwhelming power. The crowd screamed in pure ecstasy. Heavens! Agni's legendary dragon breath. It is known to instantly melt even the toughest dreadnoughts, and now it is erupting with full destructive force. The announcer's voice pierced through the roaring flames. It truly seems this blazing monster is simply too much for a pathetic Tier 1 civilization to handle. Amidst the blazing destruction, Agni shamelessly flexed his dominant physique, mocking the very heavens. "Do you see the absolute might of Lord Agni now? You ignorant fools, watching this devastating massacre unfold." Mark turned to Lena, his face pale with dread. "Lena, how are we supposed to fight a monster like that? Are we seriously going to keep looking for a weakness in that thing? I doubt anything will even scratch his aura." Lena kept her eyes forward, utterly unfazed. "Well, finding a weakness might not mean much anyway." Hearing this, Mark immediately grew self-righteous. "See? I told you so. We are literally just wasting our time here." Lena shot him a sharp, calculating glance. "No, that is not the only issue. It leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. But I have realized a crucial truth about this tournament. Not a single alien from a Tier 3 civilization or higher is even paying attention to this match. This supreme tournament can completely rewrite the destiny of an entire star system, so I expected a much heavier atmosphere. But the harsh reality is, to those higher realms, a Tier 1 civilization like ours means absolutely nothing. So here is the plan. We will forge their own arrogance into a blade and strike them where it hurts. Mark, if you understand the assignment, keep hunting for their fatal flaws, just as we planned." Mark aggressively scratched his head, looking completely bewildered. "No, wait. What I mean is, why the hell does our propaganda team have to do the scouting?" Before Lena could answer, a heartbreaking wail shattered the tension. A little girl from the 𝑫𝒐𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 civilization burst into desperate tears, screaming at the top of her lungs, "Pavnon, you cannot lose. Please, get up, Pavnon." Hearing those devastating, tearful sobs beside him, Mark finally noticed the tiny figure, his heart sinking. Oh heavens, is that not a child from the 𝑫𝒐𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 race? Such tragic fate. Their civilization drew the worst possible lot, forced to fight against the absolute apex predators of the Tier 3 realms. Suddenly, the announcer's booming voice sliced through Mark's thoughts. The infernal heat is finally fading. But wait, Pavnon is completely gone. Just then, a sinister, childish voice sneered from nearby. "Oh, come on! Just call the match already. That piece of trash has probably been burned to pure ash and scattered to the cosmic winds." Mark snapped his head, glaring at the alien boy who had just spoken. His survival instincts screamed in terror. "Oh no, this kid's aura is incredibly dangerous. I need to warn the captain so we can retreat immediately." But suddenly, the little 𝑫𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 girl felt a surge of righteous fury at the boy's blatant disrespect. Wiping her tears, she bravely stepped forward. "Hey, you! Do not you dare spout such garbage about Pavnon. You know absolutely nothing about the sacrifices he has made." The strange boy scoffed, his eyes dripping with utter disgust. Hilarious. This brat has zero manners. Exactly what you would expect from a pathetic, lower realm species. Driven by fierce loyalty, the girl screamed back. "You are just a little kid too, you arrogant brat." Sensing the suffocating killing intent leaking into the air, Mark began to panic, desperately tugging at Lena's sleeve. "Captain, we need to evacuate this area right now. If we stay here, we will definitely get dragged into the crossfire." But Lena stood perfectly still, entirely absorbed in her own tactical analysis, completely ignoring his frantic warnings. Meanwhile, the tension peaked. The arrogant boy casually tossed his empty cup aside. He glared down at the trembling girl with a bone-chilling smirk. "Listen here, you pathetic 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𔑔. Do you want to know a terrifying little secret? Did you know? Back on my home planet, my power level is considered completely average." The moment those words fell, an overwhelming dread crashed over the little girl. Her legs gave way, collapsing onto the hard ground as she scrambled backward in pure horror. Because right before her eyes, the boy's body was expanding, twisting into something monstrous. Mark screamed at the top of his lungs, "Watch out! It is highly dangerous." His desperate shout finally snapped Lena out of her deep focus. She calmly shifted her gaze, casually asking, "What is all the fuss about?" But as they looked toward the once tiny alien boy, he had fully mutated into a colossal, nightmarish beast. A towering demonic entity with a hideously twisted grin, bulging, bloodshot eyes and razor-sharp fangs locked onto the terrified prey. He leaned his massive, grotesque face right up to the shivering girl, and proudly declared his absolute dominance. "Even an average nobody like me could crush your planet's champion into a puddle of blood in under 10 seconds. The truth hit like a meteor. This was none other than the demonic engineer 𝒂𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔, the representative of the rank 1300 PC civilization. Facing this overwhelming aura of death, Lena casually rested her chin on her hand, her voice utterly devoid of fear. "Is bullying a crying toddler supposed to make you look tough?" Provoked by her sheer disrespect, 𝒂𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 exploded in rage. He channeled a devastating sonic blast, sending destructive sound waves tearing toward Lena. "What the hell did you just say, you cosmic speck?" Yet, facing this towering monstrosity, Lena did not even blink. She shot him a chilling side glance, hitting right where it hurts. "Did not you just brag about being completely average back home? Stop acting like you are some legendary demon king. The way you run your mouth just screams pathetic loser to anyone listening." Witnessing his captain's fearless, heaven-defying arrogance, Mark felt a freezing chill shoot straight down his spine. "She is going to get us killed." 𝒂𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔's massive eyes widened in pure, unadulterated shock. Then, he unleashed a dark, booming laugh, mocking Lena's audacity. "Wow, did you trash from the lower realms all drink the same poison and lose your tiny minds together? Why else would you dare to summon my wrath?" Mark's face instantly drained of all color. Trembling like a leaf, he frantically stepped forward. Wait, I'm definitely not with her, right?" Completely ignoring Mark's pathetic display of cowardice, Lena coldly pushed the beast even closer to the edge. She mercilessly stabbed at 𝒂𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔's fragile ego. "So what if you get angry? What can a mediocre loser like you actually achieve?" Those piercing words shattered 𝒂𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔's pride into a million pieces. Howling with demonic fury, the massive beast charged recklessly toward them both. Caught in a vortex of sheer panic, Mark frantically struggled, desperately shaking off Lena's grip as he screamed for his life. "Stay back!" He completely misunderstood the situation. "This is all happening because you were walking next to me." Lena gasped in pure disbelief. "What did you just say? Are you seriously planning to abandon your own squad leader?" But before the two of them could even react, the monstrous 𝒂𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 closed the distance in a single flash. He raised a terrifying fist, casting a shadow of absolute despair over Mac's horrified face. Suddenly, a buzzing sound pierced the heavens. An automated heavenly security drone materialized right above them. It locked its divine targeting array directly onto the boy. "Freeze right there!" the mechanical voice commanded with absolute authority. 𝒂𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 glared upward, his face twisted in bitter resentment. Damn it! Why did it have to appear right at this exact moment? Meanwhile, Mac was still completely frozen in shock. His soul had practically left his mortal body. Trembling like a leaf, he desperately reached out toward Lena. What in the world is that terrifying thing? Unlike her shivering companion, Lena remained as calm as a tranquil lake. She answered without missing a beat. "That is just an unmanned automated enforcer. It endlessly patrols the grand arena to maintain supreme order. With those heavenly constructs constantly watching the grounds, what could that piece of demonic trash possibly do to us?" Inside this massive stadium, the security drone turned its scanning lenses toward Lena. "Has this entity named 𝒂𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 caused any physical harm to you?" Lena gracefully raised a hand to cover her mouth, letting out a highly amused chuckle. "Harm? Oh, absolutely not." He did not lay a single finger on anyone. This utter fool was merely flexing his spiritual muscles. Perhaps he consumed far too much divine wine. Honestly, I have endured his pathetic display for far too long. to the point where I completely lost my appetite. But it is fine. I will let it slide. The security drone processed the information. Flexing his muscles? Is this statement completely factual? Lena stared directly into Pixie's furious eyes. That is absolutely correct. Were you not just showing off your physical cultivation to us? Just like a pathetic mortal from a level 1 civilization. Upon hearing this ultimate insult, Pixie practically coughed up a mouthful of blood. He ground his teeth so hard they nearly shattered. You insolent little brat! How dare you mock me? Sensing the terrifying spike in demonic aura, Mac desperately leaned in and whispered to Lena, "Are you trying to get us killed? What in the world are you doing? That monster is so furious his eyes are going to explode." Lena kept her voice perfectly steady and replied, "Before that beast actually breaks the heavenly laws and physically attacks someone, telling a half-truth will result in him being released without any severe punishment. What I mean is, this absolute humiliation is my way of punishing him." Hearing that Lena had no intention of reporting his murderous intent, Pixie was struck by a heavy wave of shock. His menacing aura flickered in deep confusion. Immediately after, the security drone shifted its mechanical focus back to Pixie. "Do you truly desire to show off those useless chunks of meat that much?" Forced into a pathetic corner, Pixie forced out an awkward, grating laugh. "Yes, that is exactly right. I just wanted to show off. So that means I did not break any arena rules, right?" The very second those words left his mouth, he collapsed onto the ground, his massive physique instantly deflated. He shrank back into his pathetic, original mortal form. Scrambling to his feet, he turned tail and ran like a beaten dog, yet he still dared to look back, waving his hand with utter disgust. "I will see you later. You insignificant mortal insects!" As soon as the demonic aura vanished, Mac hurriedly wiped the cold sweat dripping down his face. "See us later. I pray you never even appear in my worst nightmares." He then cast a fearful glance at his senior. "By the way, did you actually calculate this entire flawless outcome from the very start?" Lena's expression darkened like a gathering storm. "Of course I did. Do you honestly think I am crazy enough to provoke a monstrous entity like that without a foolproof escape plan? I swear, I think my absolute phobia of alien races is acting up yet again." Just then, a tiny trembling hand grabbed the hem of Lena's robe. It was the little girl, Pilo. Her eyes sparkled with pure, unadulterated admiration. "Thank you so much for saving me, big sister." But Lena aggressively glared down at the child. "Save you?" Her voice dripped with an icy, bone-chilling intent. "Who exactly saved who here? Get lost. Your pathetic presence is completely distracting me from the grand tournament." Hearing the fierce scolding from her supposed savior, the little girl flinched in pure terror. Hot tears immediately welled up in her innocent eyes. Mac frantically shook his head side to side. "Just as I thought. She must have suffered a sudden demon heart deviation to get so furious." He quickly reached out to pat the weeping girl's head. There, little one. You have seen how absolutely terrifying this senior sister can be, right? Hurry back to your clan." However, after witnessing Mac's utterly pathetic display of cowardice moments ago, Pilo viciously slapped his hand away. Her face twisted into a deep scowl. "Get away from me, you spineless coward." After delivering that heavy verbal strike, Pilo respectfully bowed her head to the two of them to express her gratitude before running off. Left standing there, Mac felt his entire soul shatter into tiny pieces. "I was terrified for my life too, you know. Why does that little brat treat only me like utter trash?" Hearing Mac's pathetic, endless whining, Lena's spiritual pressure flared up as she roared, "Shut your mouth right now, you embarrassing, cowardly fool." Meanwhile, back inside the massive arena, the audience was growing violently restless. They still had not seen even a shadow of the cultivator named Panong. The crowd roared with thunderous fury. "What the hell are you doing? Stop hiding like a turtle in its shell and step forward. And you dare call yourself the supreme representative of your entire civilization?" Amidst the deafening jeers raining down from the grandstands, the arena floor remained completely empty. Panong was nowhere to be found. The immense, suffocating pressure forced the grand announcer to voice his own heavy doubts. A devastating storm of criticism was crashing down upon the missing competitor. Up in the stands, Lena's mind was racing with terrifying calculations. Even though I accurately predicted this exact outcome, the sheer difference in power against a level 3 civilization is truly suffocating. Down below, the demonic beast Agni was endlessly flaunting his terrifying might. Every stomp of his foot shattered the earth, blowing away massive clouds of dust and debris. A sickeningly arrogant smile stretched across his monstrous face. It has been a very long time since anyone dared to play hide-and-seek with this Grand Master. Lena gripped the metal railing, her face sinking into a dark abyss of absolute despair. In her heart, a devastating thought loudly echoed. Is there truly no heaven-defying method for a mortal of Earth to defeat these absolute monsters? She tightly buried her face in her hands, desperately trying to seal away her suffocating fear and crushing disappointment. She fiercely reminded herself, I absolutely cannot allow such weak, pathetic thoughts to cloud my Tao heart. Hearing the strange, shaky breaths coming from Lena, Mac suddenly turned around in pure alarm. What is wrong? Why are you acting so strangely again? Are you suffering from internal injuries? You are physically trembling, refusing to show even a single ounce of weakness or beg for mortal pity. Lena immediately snapped back. It is absolutely nothing. Focus on the battle and stop worrying about me. But suddenly, noticing a massive shift in the spiritual energy, the grand announcer's voice shattered the tension like a thunderclap. Wait a moment. By the heavens! It is the competitor, 𝒒𝒒. Deeply shocked by the announcer's earth-shattering revelation, Lena forcefully widened her eyes, staring intently down at the bloody battlefield. The announcer's voice exploded through the massive stadium, piercing straight through the roaring, hellish flames. 𝒒𝒒 has locked onto Agni's ultimate blind spot. He is burning his life essence for one desperate, all-or-nothing strike, and the heavens have answered. It is a direct, flawless hit. This single strike carries enough destructive force to heavily wound the mighty Agni. The demonic overlord cannot even stand up. Right at this epic climax, Mac was completely distracted by an incoming transmission on his communication crystal. As he listened to the unknown caller, all the color instantly drained from his terrified face. Meanwhile, Lena's entire soul was absolutely captivated by the heaven-defying miracle unfolding in the arena. After shutting off the crystal, Mac desperately turned to his senior. Hey, squad leader. But her eyes remained permanently glued to the battlefield, completely ignoring his mortal panic. She replied with thick, venomous irritation. Why do you keep bothering me? I already told you that my spiritual foundation is perfectly fine. Mac frantically waved his hands in the air. No, it is not about your health. The elders just reported a critical anomaly at the grand exhibition. They demand your presence immediately to assess the deadly threat. Without wasting a single breath, the two of them rushed out of the stadium. As they sprinted through the long corridors, Lena aggressively interrogated Mac. I specifically ordered you to secure the exhibition wards before we left. Did you not double-check the array formations? Mac nervously raised a hand and scratched the back of his head. That is the strange part. I am absolutely certain that I inspected every single inch of it. Hearing his agonizingly irresponsible tone, Lena let out a sharp, venomous scoff. I should have known. The exact second you started getting excited about your foolish mortal vacation, disaster was bound to strike. But Mac stubbornly refused to believe that such a massive error could occur under his watch. He firmly defended his honor. I swear on the heavens, it makes no sense. There is no way a breach could have occurred. As their heated argument fiercely echoed down the path, they remained entirely oblivious to a chilling truth. A sinister, bloodthirsty figure was quietly tracking their every movement from the shadows. Completely unaware of the lurking danger, Lena's heart was still surging with triumphant joy. Whatever, let us just go. I have already witnessed the legendary outcome I desired. You saw it with your own eyes too, right? I still cannot comprehend it. I never in a million years believed that 𝒒𝒒 could actually conquer that demonic beast. Just as I previously deduced, those upper realm entities are not invincible gods that we cannot slaughter. But the exact second those victorious words left her lips, Mac was violently struck by a shadowy hand, instantly knocking him out cold. Lena stood completely frozen in pure shock as a spine-chilling gust of wind suddenly swept past her neck. A brutal hand reached out from the shadows. It grabbed her roughly by the hair. The scene shifts to Sector 3 of Z Avenue, the Planetary Promotion Center. Lena's bruised eyelids slowly fluttered open. She and her companion had been ambushed, knocked cold and dragged away like trash by two pixie aliens. She spotted Mac lying motionless before her. His body was completely covered in horrifying bruises. The sight made Lena's heart drop. Panic seized her chest as she choked out a scream. Wake up, Mac! Please, open your eyes! Hearing her desperate cries, the pixie alien and his crony slowly turned their heads. A twisted grin spread across the pixie's face as he stomped toward her. He yanked her head back by the hair, laughing maniacally. Oh? The little rat is finally awake? His crony hoisted Mac up by the ankle like a dead weight. Is this the piece of trash you are crying over? The pixie. Don't worry. We won't kill him just yet. The alien sneered with a sickeningly smug grin. Lena glared up at Pixie, her eyes burning with agony and pure hatred. You absolute bastard! You did all this just because I mocked you a little. Are you completely brain dead? This is Planet GSB. The Planetary Defense Force will be here any second. Pixie just threw his head back and laughed. A lowly, trash-tier civilization like yours dared to mock me? Let me give you some tragic news, little girl. The security systems here? They are all built on our Empire's supreme technology. I've already completely disabled every single alarm in this sector. With a sickeningly casual motion, Pixie violently jabbed his finger, straight into Lena's forehead, brutally taunting her. Get this through your thick skull, brat. The Galactic Alliance isn't what it used to be, taking in worthless, incompetent trash like you. Pixie's venomous mockery pushed Lena past her breaking point. Fury erupted from her core. Taking us in? Shut your damn mouth right now. We never wanted to join your pathetic alliance. You bastards invaded our home and forced us under your absolute control. And thanks to that cursed cosmic plague your people brought to our world, billions of innocent souls on Earth are still dying in unimaginable agony. Yet your high and mighty alliance claims non-interference while watching us rot without a single drop of aid. Hearing Lena's desperate, heartbroken screams, Pixie and his lackey completely froze. For a brief second, they just stood there blinking in sheer confusion, entirely failing to process her tragic words. And then, Pixie burst into a maniacal, completely unhinged fit of laughter. Spit flew from his mouth as a twisted, sickening grin spread across his face. Listen to her! Is she actually bragging? About her pathetic world facing extinction? His lackey immediately chimed in, grinning from ear to ear. No support? Do you think the Grand Alliance is a charity for beggars? An infectious disease? Seriously? Are there really still primitive monkeys out there getting wiped out by mere sickness? Pixie nodded with absolute contempt. Exactly! I thought pathetic, unevolved lifeforms like that only existed in ancient history museums. Mocking her suffering, the two aliens ruthlessly dragged their captives, deep into an abandoned storage vault. But the moment they stepped inside, an echoing, ancient voice shattered the silence. I was wondering which foolish sect dared to kidnap me. So it was you, insects? Humph. I suppose the Shaolin sect really does hold some weight in the marine world. But hasn't your sect's interior design completely changed? This absurd luxury looks more like a VIP room at the Golden Dragon Inn. Hearing this strange yet incredibly familiar dialect, Lena's eyes widened in shock. Wait, this language. Is this guy from Earth? Baffled by his profound cultivation slang, Pixie and his lackey sneered. What the hell is this dog barking about? Speak the galactic common tongue, you cosmic trash. Lena's mind raced. Thank God, these alien bastards don't understand Earth's language. Meanwhile, the eccentric Demon King was equally confused by their alien gibberish. He casually picked his ear with utter unbothered arrogance. What nonsense are you babbling? Did you bald monks only change the furniture? Realizing her one desperate chance, Lena snapped out of her shock. He doesn't speak their language. This is my only shot. Mustering all her remaining strength, she suddenly screamed at the mysterious cultivator. Hey! Run outside and warn the defense force. These monsters are breaking the absolute laws of the Alliance. Hearing this sudden outburst of an unknown tongue, Pixie's eyes filled with murderous rage. He viciously slammed Lena's head into the floor. What are you secretly plotting? Do you have a death wish? But as those familiar earthly words echoed, the mad demon's aura completely shifted. The mad demon king threw his head back and roared with manic laughter. Ah, I see it now, he sneered. Not everyone has changed over the eons. Without missing a beat, he raised his hand, channeling his ancient power, gathering an overwhelming aura of pure destruction. Golden streams of heavenly light and shredded cloth spiraled around his arm like a chaotic vortex. Meanwhile, that pathetic pixie lackey lunged right at our overpowered main character. The fool actually dared to reach for the mad demon's head. But as the grunt glanced down, a cold sweat broke out. The Demon King's fist was already buried deep into his gut. The lackey froze, his final thought echoing, Wait, what is this? The mad demon could not care less about this alien trash. Using the ancient martial arts of Earth, he unleashed the devastating tornado fist. Faster than lightning itself, a terrifying burst of explosive chi erupted from his knuckles. The sheer force blew a massive hole straight through the enemy's torso. Debris and a blinding white dust cloud swallowed the battlefield. Trembling in absolute terror, Lena shielded her face from the catastrophic shockwave of the explosion. Yet incredibly, the dead lackey's severed hand was still clutching her head. As the choking dust finally settled, Lena was left paralyzed by the bloody spectacle before her. The lifeless grip in her hair slowly loosened and hit the ground with a sickening thud. The enemy had been obliterated, split cleanly in two by a single strike. Seeing her frozen like a statue, the mad demon chuckled darkly. "Hey, stop your pathetic trembling. You can understand my words, can you not?" Still shivering from his monstrous aura, Lena meekly nodded her head. The mad demon towered over her, his spiritual pressure suffocating the air. "I have a mountain of questions for you. So if you even think about running away, I will erase you from existence right where you stand." His demonic gaze pierced through her soul, as his blood-stained hand reached slowly toward her trembling face, radiating the terrifying presence of a true slaughterer. Lena was pushed to the absolute brink of despair. Cold sweat drenched her pale cheeks. But just as the Demon King's lethal fingers were about to graze her skin, a mysterious, soft-spoken voice suddenly echoed through the tense silence. "Listen carefully, little girl. If you value your fragile life, you better speak up, and speak clearly." A spark of realization hit Lena's terrified mind. That is right, this ancient monster does not even speak the universal language. Meanwhile, the mad demon, arrogantly resting his hands on his hips, looked down at her like an ant. "First things first. Where in the heavens am I?" Still slumped on the filthy ground, Lena whimpered out, "This is the promotion hall on Res Street." The mad demon king blinked in sheer confusion. "Hold on a second. Are you telling me this is not the Shaolin sect?" He clicked his tongue. No wonder the spiritual energy here feels completely corrupted, and this chaotic atmosphere. It is far too loud and vulgar to belong to those bald monks. Utterly bewildered by his ancient rambling, Lena stared blankly at the overpowered anomaly. Then, "What exactly are you?" she blurted out, struck by the unexpectedly profound question. The mad demon king scratched his head in deep thought. Seizing the brief moment of peace, Lena scrambled to her feet. She circled the fearsome cultivator, inspecting his strange aura. "Judging by your archaic language and those bizarre clothes, it is blatantly obvious. You must be an unawakened human from the planet Earth. But you have 0 magical artifacts on you." She rested her chin in her hand, her mind racing to comprehend the absolute beast standing before her. A storm of questions brewed in her head. If he is just a normal human, then how did he unleash that heaven-shaking explosion? Annoyed by her disrespectful probing, the mad demon snapped. He violently grabbed the top of her head, roaring with demonic fury. "Have you lost your damn mind? What kind of nonsense are you muttering about?" Surprisingly, shedding her previous terror, Lena actually slapped the Supreme Overlord's hand away. Glaring right into his fierce eyes, she demanded boldly, "I am asking for your true identity. Tell me who you are right now." Taken aback by her audacity, the mad demon scoffed. "My identity? What kind of foolish question is that?" He pointed a thumb at his own chest, overflowing with absolute arrogance. "Do not tell me a lowly mortal like you does not recognize this legendary face?" Furious, Lena snapped back, "Of course I do not. How on earth would I know who you are?" But then, a sudden thought struck Lena. Her eyes widened in realization. "Wait a minute. Are you some kind of famous celebrity or something?" Before she could finish, a shadow loomed from behind. One last surviving enemy was charging right at them. Lena's face drained of color. "Behind you! Look out!" she screamed at the mad demon. The massive brute lunged forward with murderous intent. "How dare you, you lowly insect!" it roared. The mad demon simply glanced over his shoulder. His eyes dripped with absolute disgust. "Good grief, you bugs really do not know when to quit, do you?" His arrogant words pushed the monster over the edge. It unleashed a devastating, lightning-fast punch, but the mad demon just smirked. He casually tilted his head, letting the massive fist graze empty air. Then, he delivered his own counterstrike. The impact was absolute. The monster's eyes practically bulged out of its skull. The mad demon dusted off his hands, clicking his tongue in disappointment. "You overgrown meat shields are pathetic. Do you not even cultivate your internal energy?" At that exact moment, a blinding surge of golden aura erupted. The majestic light blasted straight through the monster's body. Watching this ridiculous display of power, cold sweat drenched Lena's back. Her mind was racing with absolute shock. He stopped that giant with just one hand? She thought wildly. Having swatted the threat like a fly, the mad demon casually strolled back to Lena. Striking a legendary pose, he asked her once again, "Listen closely, little girl. Are you seriously telling me you do not recognize this face?" Staring at his dramatic, over-the-top stance, Lena was completely lost for words. What is wrong with this guy? She thought to herself. Is he actually a massive deal back on Earth? With that kind of monstrous power, it makes absolutely zero sense if he is a nobody. Taking a deep breath to calm her racing heart, Lena finally bowed her head. "I sincerely apologize," she told the mad demon. "I truly do not know much about Earth's current affairs. You see, I spend almost all my time stationed on other planets." The mad demon blinked. The majestic aura around him completely shattered. He looked absolutely dumbfounded by her explanation. Crossing his arms, he tilted his head in pure confusion. "Other planets? Earth? What in the heavens are you babbling about?" Lena immediately tried to clarify the situation. "It is exactly as I said. My missions keep me far away from this world." But right at that moment, a groan echoed through the ruins. Mark was finally regaining consciousness after the devastating blast. Coughing up dust, he started screaming Lena's name, dragging his battered, bruised body toward the duo. Mark looked absolutely miserable. "What the hell is happening here?" he demanded, panic in his eyes. Lena just glanced at him with a completely deadpan expression. "Oh, Mark, you are awake." Seeing some random stranger interrupt his grand moment, the mad demon's patience snapped. A terrifying pressure leaked from his body. He glared daggers at the injured soldier. "And where did this pathetic weakling crawl out from?" he sneered. Feeling the overwhelming bloodlust, Mark flinched hard. His face scrunched up in annoyance as he shot back a tired glare. "Did you just call me a weakling? Who the hell is this guy?" Lena sighed, rubbing her temples in frustration. "Great. So you do not recognize him either." Desperate for some actual answers, Lena turned her attention back to the mysterious powerhouse. "Listen, I am incredibly grateful that you saved my life, but it is impossible to work together if you keep your identity hidden." Those words struck a nerve. The mad demon looked at her as if she had lost her mind. His expression twisted into an incredibly foul scowl. A dark, sinister chuckle escaped his lips. "Are you actually trying to threaten me, mortal?" Then, in a dazzling display of sheer ego, he aggressively slicked his hair back. Striking a majestic martial arts pose, he proudly declared, "Very well, I shall bestow my name upon you. Tremble before me. I am the great demon king, 𝒔𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔, the absolute supreme existence who annihilated the 4 great martial sects." Hearing this incredibly dramatic speech, Mark deadpanned hard. This guy's name, and his brain, are practically at kindergarten level, he thought. Leaning in close to Lena, Mark whispered urgently, "Captain, I really do not think this lunatic is mentally stable." But Lena's eyes suddenly lit up as if she caught a massive clue. She quickly stepped forward. "The great demon, King 𝒔𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔. I have absolutely no idea what that title means, but it sounds terrifyingly legendary. Could this man actually be?" But before she could finish her deduction, a terrifying tremor shook the earth. A gigantic, blood-soaked fist smashed violently into the cracked ground. It was the monster. Pitch-black blood cascaded from its jaws. Its face was contorted in absolute humiliation and blazing fury. "Curse you all, to think I would be defeated by such useless trash," it roared. Mark flinched violently, grabbing Lena's shoulder in absolute panic. "The enemy forces? What the hell are they doing here? Is this fallout from our previous mission?" Meanwhile, the monster was convulsing. A terrifying, unstable energy was rapidly expanding within its monstrous core. The beast screamed in pure, agonizing rage. "Damn it! Damn you all! If it were not for this blasted restraint device, I would have slaughtered you insects instantly." Hearing those ominous words, a chilling dread washed over Mark. Every instinct in his body was screaming at him to flee. "Captain!" he yelled over the rising wind. "You do not think that freak is about to self-destruct, do you? We need to evacuate right now." But completely ignoring the incoming disaster, the mad demon, Jin-Un just stared at the monster with absolute boredom. Suddenly, Lena's sharp voice snapped him out of his thoughts. He glanced sideways. "Listen to me, great demon king Jin-Un. Can you actually take that thing down in its current awakened state?" she asked, her voice trembling. Jin-Un's eyes practically glowed. A wickedly arrogant smirk spread across his face. "Its current state, you ask? Are you implying that trash was holding back against me earlier?" Lena nodded frantically. "Exactly. Its power has been heavily restricted this whole time. The moment those words hit Jinun's ears, his playful demeanor vanished. He felt utterly insulted. How dare a lowly creature hold back against the great Demon King? His killing intent flared. He began to march straight toward the raging behemoth with terrifying, arrogant strides. "Are you seriously telling me?" he growled back at Lina. "That insect dared to go easy on me?" Panic set in as Lina tried to hold him back. "Wait! Stop! We need to extract intelligence from it first." Mark violently grabbed Lina's arm. "Are you out of your mind, Captain? What are you trying to do? Do you have a death wish? One careless move and we are all dead." Lina bit her lip, knowing he was completely right. "I know the risks," she argued back, "but my gut is screaming at me. This might be our absolute best. Chance to turn the tide." Mark was absolutely furious. "Chance for what? Forget this suicide mission. We need to run, right now." But Lina's feet remained planted firmly on the ground. She refused to look away from the clash. Realizing his captain was a lost cause, Mark made the selfish call to save his own skin. "Screw this. You people have completely lost your minds. I am done with this madness," he roared, sprinting away into the ruins. Watching her subordinate abandon the battlefield, Lina clenched her fists. Mark might be absolutely right. This is total insanity, she thought. But standing before that impossible nightmare of a monster, this man is completely unfazed. His overwhelming aura, could he truly possess the ultimate potential? Of a human from Earth's ancient civilization, even if the monster's power was restrained, to easily deflect that attack. We might actually win this. Suddenly, a horrific realization crashed over her. Her eyes widened in absolute terror. Something was devastatingly wrong with the monster's aura. "No way," she gasped, her blood running cold. "Is the restraint breaking? Is it unleashing its true form?" It was pure nightmare fuel. The monstrous beast erupted with a catastrophic shockwave. An ocean of terrifying power flooded the battlefield. Golden lightning cracked and whipped around its massive body. It had awakened its magnetic domain. Tons of heavy steel and twisted metal ripped away from the ground, swirling into the air like a deadly tornado. But facing this apocalyptic display of strength, Jin-un was not afraid. He was absolutely thrilled. A savage grin stretched across the Demon King's face. The towering beast extended a metallic, clawed hand toward him. "Cower before me, human. Experience the absolute chasm between our civilizations. Now perish, you worthless trash," it roared. The very next second, a cataclysmic explosion leveled the entire zone. A lethal barrage of jagged steel rained down from the heavens. The great Demon King was instantly swallowed whole by a mountain of crushing metal. Thousands of heavy iron plates and steel girders pinned him to the ground. It looked like a one-sided slaughter. Yet, beneath the crushing weight of the metal prison, that wickedly arrogant smirk had not faded for a single second. "Oh yes," he whispered in sheer delight. "Now this is actually entertaining." Boom! A terrifying burst of demonic aura obliterated the steel cage. The heavy scrap metal was blown away like mere dust. The alien monster took a massive step back, its pupils shaking violently as it witnessed an impossible power, belonging to what it thought was a lowly, inferior civilization. "This is utterly impossible," the beast stammered in absolute horror. Emerging from the dust cloud, Jin-un effortlessly snapped the remaining iron pipes, pinning him down. He landed smoothly on his feet, his posture radiating supreme dominance. His face was veiled in a terrifying shadow, but his glowing crimson eyes pierced through the smoke like a true apex predator. Looking up with sheer arrogance, he smirked mockingly. "Hey, Baldy. That neat little trick you just did, that absolute power. I think I am going to take it for myself." High above, the monster was paralyzed by sheer disbelief. It stared down at the human as if looking at a ghost. "What the hell is this reality?" it screamed in its mind. "He shattered my magnetic force. How is this completely impossible feat happening? Is this lowly trash actually stronger than my unrestrained form?" It aggressively shook its massive head. "No! Snap out of it! What kind of pathetic nonsense am I thinking? That level of power. This couldn't be happening." The mechanical beast launched into another frenzied assault. It hurled a colossal chunk of steel straight at Jin, completely certain that its devastating strike had sealed the deal. With a massive iron boulder seemingly crushing our main character beneath its weight, the monster let out a twisted, triumphant laugh. "This is the natural order," it sneered. But little did this pathetic creature know, Jin wasn't just completely unscathed. He was arrogantly perched right on top of the beast's head, his hands clamped down on its skull like a vice. ruthlessly draining its cosmic energy while spitting pure venom. "A piece of trash like you actually thought you could stand above me?" he mocked. "You've been spouting absolute garbage this whole time." Driven into an uncontrollable, blinding rage by this humiliation, the metallic monstrosity lashed out. It violently swung its massive arm to swat Jin like a fly. But catching the Demon King was never going to be that easy. Jin leaped into the air with godlike agility. In sheer desperation, the beast unleashed its ultimate metal manipulation art. A chaotic storm of razor-sharp shrapnel blasted toward our overpowered hero. However, the tides of battle had already shifted. Jin had completely devoured the creature's elemental authority. Blinding torrents of golden aura erupted around his body. Majestic, glowing runes materialized across his face like ancient war paint. Smirking with absolute arrogance, he taunted. "So, this is how you play with this toy?" The cybernetic beast stared in absolute, soul-crushing horror. It unleashed a deafening roar of disbelief, unable to comprehend the monstrous entity before it. Suddenly, their two overwhelming powers collided head-on. A catastrophic explosion shattered the very fabric of the arena. Chunks of jagged steel and thick, suffocating smoke violently ripped through the air. Caught in the devastating shockwave, Lena stumbled back, her eyes wide with sheer, unadulterated terror. "Heavens above, what kind of divine realm is this?" she gasped internally. Even the mutated beast could not fathom the absolute dread standing before it. It shrieked in agonizing despair and utter humiliation. "You lowly scum! How possess you the sacred arts of our supreme civilization?" it bellowed. But Jin merely bathed in the thrill of the slaughter. With a devilish grin, the Demon King replied, "Ah, so this is what you call the profound energy of the cosmos? I must admit it has a rather delightful taste. Very well. To show my gratitude, I shall let you witness my true martial arts." The mechanical demon writhed in absolute fury. "You dare plagiarize our divine techniques? Die, you mortal filth." It raised its monolithic arm, violently siphoning nearby metallic essence for one final desperate strike. But those words ignited a dark, burning wrath within Jin. "Imitate, do not insult me." His voice echoed like the Grim Reaper. In a blinding flash, he shattered the sound barrier. He teleported from his stance, launching himself like a homing missile straight into the beast's core. With a single, world-shattering strike of the fierce tiger palm, he blasted straight through the creature's mechanical torso with catastrophic force. As the ruined metal carcass crashed to the earth in a million pieces, Jin turned back with a wicked, victorious sneer. "I didn't copy your parlor tricks. I simply plundered them from your dying husk." Lena stood completely paralyzed, her mind short-circuiting from the shock. He actually annihilated it. She trembled inwardly. A cosmic entity from a Tier 3 civilization, utterly destroyed by a single man. This level of overwhelming dominance completely shattered her worldview. Meanwhile, our overpowered main character was reveling in the glorious aftermath. "Now that is what I call an entertaining martial technique," he cheered with burning excitement. Pivoting toward his stunned companion, he commanded, "Listen well, little lady. Point me to the den where those bald-headed freaks are hiding." Snapping back to reality, Lina desperately grabbed his arm. "Is this the grand purpose behind your arrival?" she pleaded. "You infiltrated our world just to test your limits against the strong. Isn't that it?" A blazing fire of anticipation ignited within her very soul. Trembling with pure excitement, she declared, "I see the vision now. I will guide you to the supreme battlegrounds, straight into the jaws of the most terrifying elites. You shall stand as Earth's champion in the legendary GSB Galactic Tournament." Meanwhile, the great Demon King had finally made his triumphant return to the scene. Standing right beside him was the supreme judge of the Planetary Council. Gazing upon the apocalyptic wasteland before them, the judge's face drained of color. He turned to our guy and muttered in sheer panic, "If a Tier 3 cosmic juggernaut was slaughtered here, then we are undoubtedly dealing with an entity from an ascendant civilization, or perhaps a legendary race born only for war." The Demon King froze completely, utterly dumbfounded by this dramatic deduction. Caught off guard, he awkwardly turned his head, his eyes twitching as his mind raced at lightning speed. "Ah, I see how it is," he realized internally. "It's absolutely inconceivable to them that a mere mortal human could cause this level of destruction. Thank the heavens. That means I still have a narrow window to establish contact with the commander." Shattering his intense internal monologue, the Grand Judge suddenly spoke up. "Human warrior, does a shadow of fear plague your heart?" Stumbling over his words, he hastily replied. Who, me? Absolutely not. I am a fortress of calm. The judge narrowed his eyes with deep, piercing suspicion. Nonsense. The aura of dread is practically leaking from your pores. Fear not. You may take refuge behind my impenetrable guard. Scratching his head in utter defeat, our guy let out a heavy sigh. I yield. Escaping the perceptive gaze of Judge Virtus is truly an impossible feat. Truthfully, I am merely tormented by the thought of my comrade's safety. Offering a reassuring smile, the majestic judge promised they would be utterly fine. Observing this catastrophic devastation, the perpetrator must be an S-class cosmic anomaly. Thrusting a confident finger toward the smoking ruins, he proudly declared, "But let your heart be at peace. The absolute greatest temporal investigators of our realm are currently reconstructing the echoes of the past. Within mere moments, the face of this terrifying culprit shall be revealed." Standing amidst the apocalyptic rubble, a cold sweat drenched the Demon King's back. Wait, are they using that legendary celestial artifact? The one rumored to reverse the very flow of time and memory? Glancing upward in pure dread, he watched the entire destroyed battlefield miraculously weaving itself back together. A violent shiver racked his spine as he cursed his rotten luck. Damn it to the deepest abyss. If I linger in this wretched place a second longer. Misreading his absolute panic for despair, the judge placed a heavy hand on his shoulder. Do not let your spirit crumble, brave warrior of Earth. Igniting his own mysterious ancient aura, the judge swore a blood oath to avenge their fallen brethren. Meanwhile, our panicking protagonist was sweating bullets like a cornered rat. This situation has officially spiraled into an absolute nightmare, hasn't it, Commander? But to understand this chaos, we must rewind the hands of fate by exactly 30 minutes. We cut back to Jin, desperately attempting to reason with a highly skeptical Lena. I swear on the heavens, my memories are a complete void until I awakened in this bizarre realm. Hearing such an utterly absurd tale from an entity claiming to be a sealed ancient god from 3,000 years ago left her mind spinning. The martial realm? An ancient seal? What kind of cheesy web novel plot is this guy spewing? She mentally screamed. Wait, could that be the actual reason? Why he suddenly possesses flawless fluency in a language he previously couldn't comprehend? Is this a terrifying side effect of devouring that cyber beast's core? In all my years traversing the stars, I have never once heard of a cosmic authority capable of swallowing another being's cultivation base. Yet, if I dismiss this insane theory, absolutely none of his godlike feats make sense. Just how in the vast universe did mankind forfeit such heaven-defying abilities? Is he the sole inheritor of a forbidden, lost martial art? While Lena was spiraling deep into her own chaotic conspiracy theories, our impatient Demon King was rapidly losing his temper. Without another word, he turned his back and boldly marched away. Completely thrown off by his sheer audacity, Lena desperately lunged forward to block his path. Hold it right there. Just where do you think you're going all by yourself? Stopping dead in his tracks, the overpowered anomaly cast a chilling and utterly terrifying glare over his shoulder. On second thought, the aid of a weakling like you is beneath my notice. Faced with his infuriatingly arrogant attitude, a stubborn fire roared to life within Lena. Refusing to back down, she slapped on a mask of fierce defiance and screamed at the top of her lungs, I commanded you to halt. I already pledged to be your guide. But her desperate cries bounced harmlessly off his massive ego. The ancient conqueror simply scoffed, arrogantly declaring, I am fully capable of forging my own path of conquest. Sprinting frantically after his towering figure, Lena pleaded with the stubborn brute. Listen to reason. This era is entirely alien to the world you once ruled. Plugging his ears to her warnings, the majestic sovereign simply strutted forward, tossing a mocking remark over his broad shoulders. What a tragic shame. Not the realm I remember, you say? Regardless, the architecture of this peculiar gateway piques my interest. Noticing the relentless girl still trailing his shadow like a lost puppy, his patience finally snapped as demonic fury etched across his features. Cease trailing my footsteps this instant, he barked. Crossing the threshold into an expansive, metallic chamber, the ancient master was immediately slapped in the face by a wildly advanced civilization. His eyes bulged out of his skull as he squinted, his supreme intellect utterly failing to comprehend the futuristic sorcery before him. By the heavens, what in the world is that monstrosity? He gasped. Suddenly, a delicate hand rested firmly against his tense shoulder. I warned you, big guy. This era defies all your ancient logic. Lena smirked. Welcome to the new age, the 26th century, an era humanity proudly dubbed the space exploration age. But for Jin Yuan, an existence awakened from a distant past. The concept was utterly baffling. He demanded a proper explanation. Lena patiently clarified the situation. It marked the dawn of human interaction, with extraterrestrial civilizations across the cosmos. Jin Yuan scoffed, cutting her off with a wave of his hand. Why bother categorizing those bizarre creatures? What makes them so special that you need to label them? Lena frowned at his arrogance. She fired back with a challenge of her own. A bizarre creature, you say? If you had to rank these beings in humanity on a cosmic scale, where exactly do you think mankind stands? A tough question for a man who had skipped forward 3,000 years in time. Jin Yuan merely shrugged. I haven't counted them all, so how should I know? Lena's expression darkened as she revealed the bitter truth. There are roughly 20,000 civilizations in this vast universe, and our beloved humanity sits at the absolute bottom of the food chain. Jin Yuan's eyes widened in genuine surprise. He turned to her and scoffed. Are you telling me that bald weakling I just crushed counts too? Are you people out of your minds? Annoyed by his sheer disrespect, Lena glared daggers at him. Yes, I admit it, but would it kill you to watch your mouth? The universe operates on a strict 5-tier hierarchy, a system built to classify the absolute dominance of civilizations. And just as I said, humanity is stuck at the rock bottom, classified as a mere Tier 1 civilization. And even among the Tier 1s, we are the lowest of the low. Jin Yuan merely smirked, his demonic pride flaring. Do you actually care about some worthless ranking? If I were you, I'd focus on cultivating my own sheer power. Instead of crying over a meaningless list, Lena fell silent, bowing her head in deep thought. Then, stepping right into his personal space, she spoke. Demon King Jinnu, I have a formal proposal for you. Jin Yuan blinked, intrigued. A proposal? What is it? Lena's gaze grew intense as she asked. What you truly desire is to clash with absolute powerhouses, isn't it? Jin Yuan chuckled deeply. You could say that. She grabbed his hand, her voice trembling with desperation. On the planet GSP, a universal martial arts tournament is held every 100 years. Monsters beyond your wildest imagination gather there. Become Earth's representative. Enter that arena, and you will find the god-tier opponents you crave. Jin Yuan violently snatched his hand back, his aura turning dangerously cold. So, you expect me to act as your attack dog? Lena nodded eagerly. Yes, but you get to fight. Before she could finish, his murderous intent exploded. Shut your mouth. Did you think a little chat made us allies? Do I look like a naive fool to you? Lena grit her teeth, struggling against his oppressive pressure. She took a deep breath. If it sounded like I was using you, I apologize. Then let me beg you instead. If we achieve a glorious victory in this tournament, humanity can finally ascend to the next tier of civilization. The ancient powerhouse cooled his fury into amusement. Oh? Is that it? But why shed blood over an empty title? Pushed to her absolute limit, Lena screamed at him. It is not an empty title. Jin Yuan tilted his head, completely unfazed. Then what is it? Will climbing a few steps change your pathetic weak cores in any way? Lena interrupted him fiercely. What if it does change everything? To break through to the next tier, we just need a flawless victory in that arena. You see, civilization tiers are dictated by cosmic power, a primal life energy that defines existence itself. All supernatural abilities defying common sense only awaken when a being learns to manipulate this mystic force freely. The gears turned in the overpowered main character's head. Ah, I see now. You covet this mystic energy, but you can only unlock it by ascending. Yet, your weak race has zero hope of surviving the tournament. So, you want me to slaughter those cosmic monsters for you. Am I wrong? Lena swallowed hard. That is the harsh conclusion. But ascension grants more than just martial power. It grants ultimate enlightenment, a realm of cosmic knowledge that a mortal could never grasp, even if they tried for 100 lifetimes. Jin Yuan's mocking smile vanished instantly. His eyes narrowed with sudden, intense curiosity. Knowledge unattainable in a lifetime, you say? Lena seized the opening. Exactly. The accumulated wisdom of human history, that we believed was the fruit of centuries of effort, was shattered the moment we entered the space age. Everything we thought we achieved through blood and sweat is merely a microscopic fragment of data, continuously broadcasted from a colossal brain at the edge of the cosmos. And the ones who hoard and control this ultimate knowledge? The 𝑫𝒐𝒐𝒕𝒆𝒔, the sole Tier 5 civilization in existence, and the twisted masters of this cursed tournament. Her voice shook with profound rage. The distribution of knowledge is entirely rigged, kept completely out of our reach by their monstrous gatekeeping. Jin Yuan listened to her grand speech, then let out a bored sigh. How dreadfully dull. It boils down to exactly what I said earlier. You want me to fight your battles to steal the treasure you crave? Lena pleaded desperately. Yes, but please listen. This is for the salvation of all mankind. Jin Yuan turned his back, waving her off dismissively. Save your breath. Go find some righteous hero who shares your naive delusions. No one in their right mind would throw away their own life for the sake of pathetic weaklings. But just as he turned his head to leave, an apocalyptic energy locked onto his position. He glanced back, only to be blinded by a devastating flash of divine light. A planetary judge had descended. Without a single second of hesitation, he unleashed a catastrophic blast of mystic energy, completely disintegrating Jin Yuan's body. The judge's voice echoed with absolute, cold authority. Execution complete. To think a lowly insect from a trash-tier civilization caused such a disturbance. Utterly pathetic. The judge then turned his merciless gaze toward Lena. For your complicity in the murder of a 𝒐𝒐𝒊𝒏𝒈 resident, I sentence you to immediate divine judgment. He slowly raised his glowing hand, aiming a fatal blast right at Lena's head. But suddenly, a familiar voice grumbled from the rising smoke. Damn it! That actually stung. It was him, the legendary Jin Yuan. His obliterated flesh was rapidly reconstructing itself. Lena gasped in pure horror. How is he still alive? A blazing aura of demonic wrath erupted from the time-skipped powerhouse. You arrogant bastard. How dare you leave my body in this messy state? Even the almighty judge froze in absolute shock at the impossible regeneration. Jin Yuan raised his half-reconstructed, bloody hand, his eyes glowing with murderous intent as he snarled. Don't you dare. Move a single muscle, and your corpse will look exactly like his. The scene immediately shifts. Welcome to Sector 3C of planet GSP-1. The atmosphere buzzed with electric energy. An ocean of extraterrestrial beings flooded the streets. Their forms and sizes defied all mortal logic. Amidst this chaotic sea, the proud residents of the Pilo planet marched forward. They were heading straight to the grand arena. They needed to support their supreme representative. Little Mala, the girl who recently suffered at the hands of a pixie thug, was beaming. She cheerfully told her parents about her savior. A brave Earthling girl had stepped in to help. Grok raised an eyebrow in absolute disbelief. An Earthling? Intervening in a clash with a PC resident? It seemed the humans of Earth were far braver than the galactic rumors suggested. Kak nodded firmly, acknowledging the debt of honor. We owe that girl a life-saving favor, Kak declared. Suddenly, the trio froze in their tracks. A mysterious man stood before them. He was cloaked entirely in a heavy brown robe, matching their own attire. His voice was deep and menacing. Having a joyful family chat without me, are we? Grok instantly recognized the commanding spiritual presence. Ah, you know how it is. Our youngest almost triggered a catastrophic disaster. She was just trying to cheer for our people. Mala's eyes widened with pure joy. Recognizing the aura of Panong, she released her balloon to the heavens. She sprinted toward the cloaked man with wide-open arms. Panong caught the little girl, embracing her warmly against his chest. Grok's expression darkened with deep concern. Panong, my brother, you have endured a hellish tribulation. Is your spiritual foundation still intact? Panong slowly pulled back his heavy hood, revealing a fierce gaze. Do not fret, my martial aura is still practically overflowing. But tell me, what massive disaster did our little one cause? Before Grok could utter a single syllable in response. Boom! A heaven-shaking explosion ripped through the crowded avenue. Absolute chaos erupted as panicked screams drowned out the street noise. The divine judge has descended, the crowd wailed in sheer terror. What is happening? He is hunting down an Earthling. The human slaughtered a PC resident and fled. Grok's heart dropped into his stomach at those words. Wait, a PC resident and an Earthling? Kak narrowed his eyes. That combination sounds way too familiar. Trembling with fear, little Mala grabbed Panong's massive hand. Her tiny fingers clutched him like a lifeline. Panong looked down, his supreme senses picking up her fear. What is wrong, Mala? Did something happen? Mala stuttered, unable to form a complete sentence. But the wave of destruction answered for her. Emergency sirens howled with apocalyptic urgency. Evacuate the sector immediately. The heavenly pillars are collapsing. Just moments later, the cataclysmic duel between Jinwoo and the Divine Judge reached a boiling point. The sheer force of their clashing auras leveled the entire skyscraper. Lena, by some absolute miracle of fate, had survived the heavenly tribulation. Covered in dust and completely exhausted, she stared blankly ahead. A massive mountain of shattered steel and concrete lay before her. Standing atop the ruins like a victorious demon king was Jinwoo. He sneered down at the rubble. That is the price you pay for recklessly destroying another cultivator's vessel. But suddenly, the spiritual pressure violently spiked. A terrifying cosmic energy began melting the mountain of debris from within. Jinwoo's eyes narrowed into deadly slits as he glared downward. Oh ho. So you managed to escape the underworld, Jinwoo mocked. Sensing the imminent eruption of divine energy, the main character leaped into the sky. He descended with an earth-shattering superhero landing. The Divine Judge incinerated the remaining steel, stepping out from the ashes. He extended a glowing hand, his voice echoing with absolute disbelief. Jinwoo, I refuse to believe the heavenly reports. Did you truly devour the cosmic core of that PC resident? Your dark aura is far more monstrous than I anticipated. Jinwoo tilted his head, flashing an arrogant, god-tier smirk. What is the matter, Judge? Are you already regretting the moment you dared to cross my path? Without wasting a breath, Jinwoo unleashed his demonic intent. His foot smashed into the ground, cracking the planet's crust. He launched forward at the speed of lightning, delivering a catastrophic explosive strike. Even mid-attack, Jinwoo did not stop his merciless trash talk. Too slow, you pathetic bag of bones. Boom! Another devastating shockwave shattered the atmosphere. The sheer impact completely paralyzed the civilian evacuation efforts. Lena sat frozen on the trembling ground. She watched the apocalyptic blast with wide, terrified eyes. Her heart raced with desperate fear for Jinwoo's life. Jinwoo, what kind of suicidal madness are you attempting? She cried internally. Suddenly, a massive hand clamped over her face from the shadows. A scream died in her throat as sheer terror consumed her. Quiet your spirit, a deep voice whispered. I am here to extract you. It was Panong. But before they could escape, Grok sprinted toward them through the falling ash. Brother Panong! Grok roared desperately. Panong whipped around, his eyes blazing with furious martial intent. Why are you still in the death zone, you fool? I commanded you to take Mala and flee to the sanctuary. Lena's eyes widened as the pieces of Destiny's puzzle aligned. Wait, she thought, her mind racing. Isn't this the legendary champion of the Pilo race? The very same alien warrior that little girl was cheering for? Panong ruthlessly hoisted Lena onto his massive shoulder like a sack of rice. He marched forward, his face twisted in supreme annoyance. Damn it all! Not a single soul listens to my commands anymore. Grok waved his arms frantically, panting for breath. Mala is safely secured with Kak. We need to move, now! Lena thrashed against Panong's iron grip, her panic skyrocketing. What the hell do you think you are doing to me? She demanded. Panong did not even break his stride as he answered. I am simply repaying the karmic debt you earned by saving our kin. The Pilo civilization never forgets a life-saving grace. Brother, pick up the pace. The heavenly tribulation is spreading, Grok screamed. Lena's mind spun in absolute confusion. She struggled against the alien warrior's overwhelming physical strength. Wait, stop. Put me down. What are you talking about? Panong dashed through the ruins like a hurricane, his voice grave. Listen closely, Earthling. Saving your entire pathetic race is impossible. The Divine Judges are the ultimate raid bosses of this galactic tournament. Their power transcends the mortal realm. I only have enough strength to secure your survival. Nothing more. Meanwhile, the battlefield had turned into a literal hellscape. Jinwoo fought like a wrathful Asura. He continuously spawned phantom clones, barraging the Judge with devastating martial arts techniques. The Divine Judge was pushed to the absolute brink. The unearthly magic radiating from a mere human left him utterly shaken. Impossible. The PC civilization was merely a fraction of this monster's true power. Jinwoo's phantom duplicates perfectly cornered the heavenly executioner. Left with no choice, the Judge thrust his hands forward, drawing upon supreme cosmic energy. The blinding sphere of destruction expanded, swallowing the entire dimension. Kaboom! A cataclysmic blast vaporized the clones and leveled the remaining sector. Thick, white smoke blanketed the apocalyptic wasteland, but the Judge kept his glowing arm extended, panting heavily. Such pathetic parlor tricks will not work on a deity, the Judge sneered. But the main character's aura is absolute. Materializing through the void, Jinwoo appeared directly behind the judge. A devilish grin stretched across Jinwoo's face. I had a feeling you would say something arrogant like that. Instantly, the judge spun around, his palm slamming directly onto Jinwoo's skull. Destructive cosmic energy surged into his grip. You arrogant mortal, the judge growled with sadistic glee. It seems your life is entirely worthless after all. In a flash of blinding light, a terrifying inferno engulfed Jinwoo's body. Back with the rescue team, Panong was enduring a completely different kind of battle. Lena was fighting tooth and nail, screaming at the top of her lungs. Let me go! I said let me go, you alien freak! If you have the power to save someone, go save him, not me. Grok snapped his head back, his face contorted with intense frustration. Did you not hear a single word my brother just said? What exactly are we supposed to do against a cosmic monster like that? Panong stood his ground like a towering mountain, commanding peace. Enough, Grok. Hold your tongue. This woman protected little Mala. We will not disrespect her. Grok glared at Panong, his voice dripping with resentment. How much longer are you going to chain yourself to these ancient, outdated traditions? Silence! Panong roared, his aura flaring. This is the unwavering martial path our ancestors bled to protect. Suddenly, a suffocating heatwave hit them. A monstrous pillar of hellfire erupted directly in their path, blocking their escape. Peering into the raging inferno, Panong's eyes widened in absolute horror. What in the heavens is that? Dry wood? Why in the heavens is it falling from the sky? Lena's voice cut through the tension. She quickly explained that this was the earthling she had begged them to save. Panong's face grew pale with dread. Had this mortal truly clashed with the Supreme Judge Virtus? If the rumors were true, then the judge's descent upon them was imminent. Right on cue, the air grew heavy as Judge Virtus materialized. His divine feet touched the ground, his cold gaze locking onto Jin's scorched and lifeless vessel. Trembling like a leaf, Grok grabbed Panong's arm. Brother, we cannot stay here. We must flee immediately, even if we abandon the others. If we linger in this tribulation zone, we'll end up as ash just like him. Lena, however, stared intently at Jin's charred remains. Her eyes narrowed with deep contemplation. Suddenly, the impossible happened. Jin's burnt lips began to twitch. His jaw unhinged as he let out a heaven-shaking, beastly roar. A manic grin spread across Lena's face. Just as my calculations predicted, she thought, vibrating with excitement. She immediately commanded the group. Hold everything. Look closely at his body. Panong flinched, his eyes widening in absolute shock. Within that dancing inferno of divine punishment, Jin was thrashing wildly. He screamed with a primal fury that defied mortal limits. Grok stepped back, her mind shattering. What in the cosmos is that monstrosity? She gasped. How is he still drawing breath? Panong stared down, utterly paralyzed by disbelief. Heavens above, I can scarcely believe my own eyes. He is continuously restructuring his flesh, even while being devoured by the judge's absolute hellfire. Could this earthling's cosmic innate talent truly be supreme regeneration? That is a divine art far too precious for such a lowly, unrefined existence. Emerging from the ashes like a phoenix, Jin's reconstructed body slowly came into view. He was panting heavily, tongue out, frantically clutching his head from the agonizing heat. Meanwhile, Judge Virtus fully unleashed his oppressive aura. The majestic and terrifying presence of a supreme entity crushed down on them. Appearing right behind the group, Virtus projected a voice that resonated with absolute authority. Leave the criminal behind, and begone from my sight, you pathetic pico-mortals. The judge's aura-infused command sent chills straight down Grok's spine. Terrified out of her wits, she furiously turned to Panong. Did you hear the Supreme One? This is our golden ticket to survive. But Panong completely tuned out his sister's cowardly pleas. He turned sharply to Lena, his eyes burning with resolve. That earthling. Do you truly believe he possesses the destiny to survive this? Ignored and furious, Grok shrieked at her older brother in utter despair. Lena, unflinching, met Panong's gaze. Without a doubt, she declared, I have personally witnessed him heal from wounds far more devastating than mere hellfire. A profound determination settled over Panong's face. He reached up and tightly gripped his clan's cloak. Is that the truth? Then listen to me carefully. You must take this man to the GSP tournament registration office immediately. If he ascends to become an official GSP warrior, the cosmic laws will protect him. Even a supreme entity like Virtus won't be able to execute him without cause. Grok's eyes widened in horror as she realized his suicidal plan. "Brother, please, don't throw your life away," she begged. But Pan Nong's resolve was as solid as a divine mountain. He decisively ripped the cloak from his shoulders, tossing it to the dirt as he turned to face the Supreme Judge. "I will buy you the time you need," he roared. "Take him to the registration office, now!" Grok snatched up her brother's discarded cloak, tears of rage and sorrow in her eyes. "Curse you and your foolish pride, you stubborn idiot," she cursed bitterly. Wasting no time, the two women frantically rolled Jin's regenerating body into the heavy fabric and bolted away like lightning. As she ran, Grok screamed back at Pan Nong, her voice cracking with emotion. "I swear to the heavens, if you die before I see you again, I will never forgive you." Pan Nong didn't look back. He stared down the Supreme Judge, an arrogant smirk playing on his lips. "Do not fear for me," he called out. "With his absolute victory, we will forge a weapon that will shatter the heavens." Judge Virtus merely scoffed, lifting a single finger as he gathered a terrifying concentration of pure energy. "Ignorant fool. Do you honestly believe you can escape the absolute judgment of Virtus?" The judge aimed his blazing, sun-like fingertip at the fleeing women, ready to obliterate them from existence. But in that split second, a sinister, demonic shadow violently erupted right behind him. Pan Nong's voice echoed, now laced with a terrifying resonance. "I know your hidden history, Virtus. Before ascending to the seat of judge, you were a member of the celestial Helon race, and the ultimate bane of the Helon's light is the absolute abyss of darkness." In a terrifying display of demonic metamorphosis, Pan Nong's hands were engulfed in a suffocating purple miasma. His eyes rolled back into pure white voids, surrendering his humanity to the dark arts. Black flames of purgatory exploded across his body, burning with chaotic intensity. He laughed with the madness of a true demon king, taunting the judge, and as fate would have it, the cosmic power my civilization wields today happens to be the absolute element of darkness. His suicidal bravery was fueled by a sacred ancestral decree to protect the savior of Mala at all costs. The scene suddenly shifts to the chaotic GSP tournament registration office. The grand hall was overflowing with cultivators and monstrous alien warriors of all grotesque shapes. Behind the main desk, the registration clerk Kianos spoke with unbearable arrogance. "My apologies, but no matter how much you beg." Grok slammed her hands on the counter, erupting with fury. "Swallow your fake apologies and process the damn registration right now." Lena aggressively shoved her official badge into the clerk's face. "Open your eyes. I am the supreme representative of Earth." Kianos slowly shifted her lazy, disdainful gaze toward the bundle containing Jin. "Denied," she sneered. "Just look at him. A dying creature cannot enter the grand tournament." But inside the cloak, Jin's flesh was rapidly reforming, remnants of divine flame still flickering across his furious face. "Who says I am dying?" Jin bellowed, his aura spiking violently. "Process the paperwork immediately. This is merely my supreme super regeneration technique." His outraged screaming instantly caught the attention of nearby cosmic warriors. A green-skinned alien with sinister, slit-like eyes smirked and nudged his comrade. "What is all that pathetic squawking about? What kind of trash is causing a scene over there?" His companion chuckled darkly. "Looks like a pathetic earthling is begging to enter the GSP tournament, but got flatly rejected." The green alien burst into mocking laughter, his voice dripping with pure disdain. "An earthling? That bottom-tier trash civilization dares to participate? Ha ha ha. If I get matched with them, it will be a free slaughter. Oh, we absolutely must help these weaklings enter the arena." The entire group of alien cultivators erupted into malicious laughter. Suddenly, a chorus of fake, patronizing voices rose up behind Lena and Grok. "Come on now, Clerk Kianos. Process their registration." "Exactly. Every civilization under the heavens has the right to face death in the arena. Are you daring to discriminate against a lower realm?" The unexpected support left Lena and Grok utterly bewildered. They whipped their heads around, staring at the sea of gloating alien faces. Grok's eyes narrowed with deep suspicion. "What kind of sinister scheme are these bastards brewing?" she muttered to Lena. But the crowd's chanting only grew louder and more oppressive. "Register them! Let them fight! Register them!" Crushed under the overwhelming weight of public pressure, Kianos finally clicked her tongue and relented. "Fine. I will process the earthly trash's registration." Relief washed over Lena as she smiled triumphantly. "Excellent. You should have shown such wisdom from the beginning." "Forgive my interruption," Kianos added dryly, "but I must verify one crucial detail." Lena blinked in confusion. Keanu slowly pointed a long finger toward the spot where Jin had just been lying. Where exactly is the combatant I am supposed to register? Cold sweat dripped down Lena and Grok's backs. They snapped their heads around, expecting to see Jin's regenerating form. Instead, their eyes met absolutely nothing but an empty, cold table. The color drained from their faces, panic gripping their souls. By the heavens, where did that overpowered monster disappear to? Meanwhile, we cut back to Street G, District 3 of the GSP planet. The almighty Judge Virtus held Pan Nong completely off the ground by his throat, his face a mask of supreme arrogance. Pathetic. I simply cannot comprehend what you gain by throwing away your life for such trash. The mindset of you lower realm insects truly baffles me. Pan Nong choked, his demonic power utterly suppressed. But suddenly, a monstrous voice shattered the heavens right behind the judge. Hey, you scrawny bastard! It was none other than our overpowered main character, Jin. He had instantly teleported back for absolute vengeance. With eyes glowing like bloody moons, he launched himself like a meteor, his fist carrying the devastating might of 1,000 dying suns as he roared his battle cry. You are completely dead meat. But Adjudicator Vitos remained terrifyingly calm. He extended his hand toward Jinwoo. I see, he scoffed. No wonder these trash-tier civilizations always make such foolish misjudgments from the start. Seeing Jinwoo charging in, Panon screamed at the top of his lungs. I have temporarily sealed his demonic aura. You earthling! Jinwoo charged forward with blazing fury in his eyes. You want to know if my martial arts are trash? The overpowered main character roared. Judge it yourself after you eat this strike. At that exact moment, a fist packed with overwhelming explosive aura slammed directly into the Adjudicator's face. The impact was absolutely devastating. His divine mask shattered into countless pieces, flying away into the void. Meanwhile, over at Zone 3 of the Planetary Propaganda Center, the atmosphere was deceptively peaceful. Mac was sweating bullets, rationalizing in his head. This is not my fault. If Captain Lena had not interfered from the beginning, none of this would have happened. Suddenly, his entire body froze in sheer terror. He looked up, his pupils trembling. The apocalyptic scene unfolding before him was a massive shockwave accompanied by blood-curdling screams. An explosion? Run for your lives. He stood there utterly paralyzed. What in the heavens is happening over there? Is this a terrorist attack? Or some catastrophic accident? Suddenly, his communicator buzzed to life. A frantic voice echoed from the other side. This explosive spiritual energy. Don't tell me. Cutting back to the apocalyptic battlefield, between Jinwoo and the Adjudicator. The fragments of the sacred mask scattered across the shattered earth. Vitos callously dropped Panon to the ground. He clutched his face in agonizing pain, his eyes burning with demonic wrath. He glared fiercely at Jinwoo, who was reveling in his successful counterattack. Jinwoo smirked with absolute disdain. This is not a game, you arrogant fool. You actually took massive damage from a mere mortal like me. Huh. Perfect. I will devour your demonic powers right here. The colossal, gaunt figure completely lost his usual terrifying composure. The Adjudicator's face twisted into a visage of pure, unadulterated fury. His monstrous eyes locked onto his prey as he roared. I will never forgive you for this. You dared to scratch the divine mask bestowed upon me by the heavens? He slowly lowered his hands, revealing a repulsively hideous true demonic form. I will tear your soul to shreds, you filthy insect. Instantly, he materialized a giant spectral hand directly above Jinwoo's head. Yet, our overpowered main character merely stood there with a chillingly calm aura. This is what you wanted all along, right? At that exact moment, the Adjudicator's spectral hand unleashed a devastating beam of destructive energy straight at Jinwoo. Without a single wasted movement, he perfectly read the attack's trajectory. He dodged the lethal strike with godlike reflexes. But the Adjudicator was no low-level mob, waiting to be slaughtered. Following that blast, he utilized a terrifying flash step technique. He instantly closed the distance on Jinwoo. Despite having absolute confidence in his own martial prowess, Jinwoo found this damn Adjudicator incredibly annoying to deal with. The moment he caught up, the demonic judge slammed his foot down. He unleashed a catastrophic heavy strike, sending Jinwoo blasting backward. He crashed dozens of meters away, shattering the earth and sending dust clouds exploding into the sky. To execute his target like a true Adjudicator of fate, he condensed his dark aura into a massive sphere of destruction. He hurled the explosive energy core straight at the crater where Jinwoo lay. A catastrophic explosion annihilated everything in its path, wiping the area clean. Mac, having witnessed this apocalyptic scene, immediately called to confirm the grim reality. Just like the captain predicted, that monster is here. Lena felt a wave of disbelief wash over her. Are you absolutely sure about this? Upon hearing his terrified confirmation, Lena surprisingly let out a sigh of profound relief. Thank the heavens. You are finally safe, Mac. Rock, standing nearby, could not process this impossible news. Did that guy actually regenerate? From those fatal injuries already? Max stared at the battlefield still veiled in suffocating smoke. But I don't think we can celebrate our survival just yet. Lena was completely confused by his ominous tone. What? What on earth are you talking about? Mac gulped hard before explaining the grim situation. He is here, but we are absolutely not safe. Back at the crater, the adjudicator slowly approached Jinwoo's location. I must admit, this is genuinely surprising. He looked down at Jinwoo's charred and broken body. Limbs were completely severed, leaving a mangled mess of a corpse. The adjudicator pondered to himself. Can he truly regenerate his flesh from such catastrophic damage? I have no idea how a lowly, trash-tier civilization acquired such overpowered abilities. But this little anomaly ends right here and now. The moment those words left his mouth, he pulled his arm back. A glowing magic circle of pure death manifested behind him. With a savage glare, he prepared to obliterate the remains of Jinwoo once and for all. But suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the battlefield tension. Wait! Stop right there, Vitos! The command forcefully halted his intention to completely erase Jinwoo's existence. He tapped his forehead, looking visibly annoyed at the interruption. What is it this time, Kianos? Wearing an expression of utter arrogance, she delivered a shocking revelation. That lowly earthling. He has already been officially registered as Earth's representative in the Grand Star Battle Tournament. The adjudicator was completely dumbfounded by this nonsense. What kind of absolute garbage are you spouting? He has been fighting me this entire time, Kianos Sihil, and began to explain the time skip back to 30 minutes ago. The alien factions were causing an absolute uproar. Register them right now. Let them in. Some were even aggressively screaming. Curses right into Kianos's face. Listen here, you racist trash. Just push their registration through. She had desperately tried to explain the rules, but there was no way to reason with such blinding arrogance. Rock was furious, his blood boiling as he roared. What part of this makes any sense, you filthy discriminator? Lena refused to sit back and watch either, joining the fierce verbal barrage. Exactly. Have some pride in your pathetic job. Kianos completely lost her temper, violently slamming her hands onto the desk. You ignorant fools need to understand how the system works. Suddenly, a tiny bespectacled kid squeezed through the crowd. He nervously raised his hand to speak. Excuse me, but isn't there a temporary registration protocol? You know, for when the combatant cannot be physically present? A dark-skinned warrior immediately interrupted the boy. Now that you mention it, I remember hearing rumors about that too. A green-skinned martial artist narrowed his eyes in suspicion. Does a loophole like that actually exist? How come I have never heard of this technique? Kianos smirked maliciously in her mind. Of course you low-tier trash would not know about it. This is a premium policy strictly reserved for apex civilizations, not bugs like you. Wait a second. If I manipulate this rule to my advantage, it might just solve my problem. Oh, heavens above. I have got the perfect plan. Snapping out of her wicked thoughts, Kianos slammed her palm onto the counter again. Placing her other hand on her hip, she made a wildly arrogant declaration. Fine. If you manage to manually fill out these ancient registration scrolls and hand them over, I will process it. But if you fail, give up your foolish dreams and crawl back to your home planets. Lena immediately snatched the stack of documents and began fiercely analyzing the text. At that moment, every single eye in the room locked onto her. Realizing something was horribly wrong, Rock exploded in absolute rage. Hold on a damn minute. What in the world is this? This is not the universal tongue. It is inscribed in the divine runes of an apex civilization. How do you expect me to decipher these squiggly demonic ancient texts? Playing perfectly into Kianos' trap, she let out an insufferably evil laugh. Oh, you cannot read it? What an absolute tragedy for you lowly beings. Rock was driven utterly mad, flailing his arms around like a lunatic. Of course I cannot read this supreme garbage. Hand over the version written in the universal language right now. Kianos turned her head away, her villainous laughter echoing through the hall. Nope, we do not carry anything for commoners. The temporary registration system was forged solely for the convenience of apex civilizations. So naturally, it is encrypted in their sacred tongue. Hearing this soul-crushing revelation, two alien warriors standing outside began to whisper in sheer panic. The green-skinned combatant groaned, "Oh no, this is a disaster. Thinking about it now, why the hell were we in such a rush to register today?" The multi-fingered alien replied with a heavy sigh, "Yeah, if there are no immediate death matches, we could have just brought the fighter here later." Meanwhile, Lena was completely absorbed, rapidly decoding and writing the ancient demonic script. The background noise slowly faded away. The blue-skinned alien snapped his head toward Lena. "What was that sound?" he demanded. Rock flinched, his eyes wide with pure shock. "Wait, you can actually read the ancient demonic runes?" Standing nearby, Kianos was utterly paralyzed. His jaw dropped in sheer disbelief. "This is impossible," he muttered. Snatching the parchment from Lena's hands, he stared at the sacred script. "This has to be an illusion," his mind screamed. "Mortals from a trash-tier realm cannot comprehend divine laws." He glared at them, his voice trembling with rage. "How can lowly bugs like you possibly decipher the supreme cultivation tongue? For a fragile human mind, just looking at these characters should cause their souls to shatter." Meanwhile, back in the Grand Celestial Hall, after hearing this ridiculous report, High Judge Virtus nodded in solemn agreement. "You are absolutely correct," his booming voice echoed. "A mortal from such a pathetic realm could never manipulate this level of cosmic energy. An unseen supreme being must be pulling the strings from the shadows." Kianos bowed his head. "My thoughts exactly, Your Eminence. Someone is interfering, but no matter how hard I search, this entity leaves zero spiritual traces. If a mere earthling naturally mastered this forbidden script, it would be like a mortal ant casually reading the secrets of the cosmos. They would have to instantly absorb millions of divine runes. Even if their brain did not explode, comprehending the profound Tao behind it is impossible. Which means, they aren't just memorizing symbols, they are rewriting the laws of reality itself. However, receiving divine guidance does not violate the tournament's heavenly decrees. We cannot disqualify them." Judge Virtus stroked his chin. "Very well. I shall ponder this mystery. First, they possess a loyal disciple willing to burn their soul for their master. And now, a hidden master teaching them higher realm cultivation arts right under your nose. It is as if the heavens themselves are moving to protect this man. Fine, I will turn a blind eye this time. But I must place a seal on your petty tricks, Kianos." Without warning, the High Judge raised his glowing hand. Blinding celestial spiritual energy gathered in his palm. In a flash of blinding light, the three figures vanished, swallowed by a spatial void. Mac, horrified by this terrifying display of power, screamed out, "Captain! That monster just banished Jinu. He took him and that street thug into the abyss." Lena's eyes blazed with fury. "Vanished?" Rock, hearing his brother insulted, flared up with killing intent. "Who are you calling a thug? You want to die, you little brat?" Seeing their auras clash, Kianos sighed dismissively. "Cease this pointless mortal bickering. They were merely teleported to the supreme healing chambers. It is the designated sanctuary for combatants." Lena glared at him. "Why drop your formal facade all of a sudden?" She sighed. "But, fine. Thank you." Kianos scoffed. "Whatever. Now get out of my sight." 1 week later, inside the high-tier cultivation healing pavilion, Jinu's broken body was suspended inside a massive celestial crystal tank. Spiritual cables pumped life force into his veins, but his shattered legs were still slowly regenerating, staring at the lifeless husk of a man before him, a sight he had never witnessed. Mac's confidence shattered. "Captain," he whispered in despair, "do you honestly believe this crippled corpse can still fight?" Lena's eyes remained unyielding. "Do not doubt him. The Demon King will rise again. His grand awakening is near." Suddenly, an imposing voice echoed from the shadows. "It has been quite a while since you made that arrogant vow. Yet to my eyes, this trash is barely clinging to life. His vital energy is weaker than a dying insect's." The two spun around in shock. A one-eyed elder with flowing white hair stepped forward. His aura was heavy, flanked by 2 elite guards. It was Clarice, the supreme commander of Earth's vanguard. He glared at Lena with absolute disappointment. "It seems my faith in your judgment was a fatal mistake, Captain. Therefore, I am taking control. We will deploy the original champion for the deathmatch in 2 days." Panic flashed in Lena's eyes. "No, Commander, please, if you just grant us a little more time. His demonic core is almost fully restored." Just then, a blur of crimson darted into the room. "Captain Lina," a cocky voice roared. "Stop placing your bets on that pathetic fraud." The crimson figure leaped into the air. Vaulting over the commander's head, he landed with a ground-shattering superhero pose. Smirking with unmatched arrogance, he locked eyes with Lina. "Put your faith in me." He thumbed his own chest, radiating the aura of an arrogant young master. The undisputed strongest martial artist on earth, Marcel B. But Lina treated him like empty air. She turned her back to him, desperately slamming her fists against the crystal tank. "Jinnu, break the seal. Wake up now." Meanwhile, Mac was staring in utter bewilderment. Who is this clown posing like a fool? The elderly commander placed a heavy hand on Lina's shoulder. "Cease this foolishness. Marcel holds the pinnacle of Earth's martial power. I chose him myself. Furthermore, the divine-grade artifact he wears is the ultimate culmination of human mortal engineering. Once he unleashes this power, no higher realm will ever dare look down on Earth again. Listen closely. The cultivators of planet Bayer rank 10,320 in the cosmic hierarchy. Their homeworld is a literal demon realm forged of indestructible obsidian, oceans of boiling magma, skies choked with demonic poison gas, a true infernal purgatory. The Bayer race forged their physical vessels to the absolute extreme just to survive. Our upcoming opponent, 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔, possesses a monstrous, innate physique that defies the heavens. Therefore, the crucial strategy we must employ in this deathmatch is— Suddenly, a grating voice sliced through her tactical briefing. All right, wrap it up, little girl. These aliens are just Tier 1 trash like us, right?" He scoffed arrogantly. He crushed his glowing spiritual cigar under his boot. This dark-skinned elder with a snow-white beard was none other than Maro Steele, the ruthless master of absolute martial combat. Exuding unbearable arrogance, he mocked Lina. "You glorified tour guide, your useless exposition ends here." Picking his nose with utter disdain, he sneered. "The real warriors will handle the rest. Scurry back to your desk. Oh, wait. I heard you picked a fight with those outer realm freaks, and they reduced your precious promotional sanctuary to cosmic dust. Did they not? Looks like the little stray dog has no home to return to. Should have been more careful, eh?" His explosive, mocking words ignited a blazing inferno in Lina's heart. She glared at him, her aura trembling with rage. Suddenly, a floating divine eye drone descended. It broadcasted a mechanical heavenly decree. "Combatants for the next bloodbath, please step into the arena. Proceed to the void waiting chambers." Maro Steele stretched his neck, his joints popping like firecrackers. "Oh my. Looks like it is time for a massacre." Lina desperately reached out. "Wait! Stop!" Seeing the arrogant old fool march off, she chased after him. "You need the heavenly strategy scrolls I prepared." He raised a hand, dismissing her like a buzzing gnat. "Whoa there, little girl. Real masters do not need your pathetic scrolls. Just sit back and watch absolute power at work." Unable to stomach this suicidal arrogance for another second, Lina clenched her fists, her spiritual pressure erupting. "Listen to me, you ignorant fool," she roared. "Where does this suicidal overconfidence come from? You frogs at the bottom of the well think Earth's martial arts mean anything? Those outer realm monsters defy every heavenly law we know. To conquer a higher realm civilization requires peerless tactical analysis and exploiting their vital flaws. In this cosmic slaughterhouse, strategy is the only thing standing between life and absolute annihilation, especially since human physical limits are absolute trash tier in this universe." Sick of her desperate warnings, Commander Clarice's aura turned violently dark. He drew his spiritual blaster and fired a deadly warning shot right at her feet. His remaining eye burned with brutal authority. "Watch your tongue, Captain Lina. Is that really how you encourage a comrade before a death match?" Lina's voice dripped with icy disdain. "You are the one lost in the vastness of the cosmos, old man. Completely blind to reality." The arrogant commander scoffed. "Aren't you underestimating these pathetic earthlings a bit too much?" But right at that moment, Marcel stood there, completely unfazed. Between his fingers, he casually held the smoking bullet the commander had just fired. Playing with the deadly projectile, Marcel lazily scratched his head. Damn that crazy geezer. He actually dared to shoot with killing intent? Yet, an overwhelming confidence blazed in Marcel's eyes. He turned to Lina with a fearless grin. "We mortals of Earth have cultivated for 100 grueling years just for this tournament. We have sacrificed every ounce of our resources, time, and blood. We are stepping into this arena with absolutely nothing left to lose. Do you understand the weight of that? With a swift motion, he pulled his dark hood over his head, cloaking his presence. He struck a dramatic pose right in front of Lena, pointing a single finger toward the heavens. His voice resonated with absolute certainty. "Just place your faith in me, and cheer for my absolute victory, team leader." Marcel then vanished toward the battlefield in a flash. But Lena's heart remained heavy with dread. These fools were treating their mortal lives like cheap toys. Drowning in a sea of helplessness, she dragged her heavy feet into the colossal, blood-stained arena. The booming voice of the announcer shattered the tension. "Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the cosmos. Thank you for your endless patience. The moment you have been waiting for is finally here. We will now commence the brutal bloodbath of the Group 8 qualifiers." Meanwhile, hidden away on a stone step, our overpowered main character was viciously devouring some snacks. He chewed with the intensity of a starving demonic beast. His eyes darted nervously toward the arena entrance. "Old man 𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔, just when in the heavens are you going to show up?" Suddenly, a familiar voice sliced through his wandering thoughts. Lena approached from the shadows. "What kind of mortal trash are you stuffing your face with? Is that even edible?" The main character glanced up, offering a casual nod. "Of course it is. You finally made it. Oh, by the way, I bumped into some cultivators who claim to know you." Lena blinked in sheer confusion. "Acquaintances of mine? In this realm?" Before she could process the thought, Grog and Panong materialized beside the main character like phantoms. Lena's eyes narrowed dangerously at the two intruders. "Do not tell me you two have been stalking my aura," she demanded coldly. Grog quickly raised his hands in defense. "A mere coincidence, I swear it. By the way, the heavens must be smiling upon your faction. You got incredibly lucky with the tournament brackets. This opponent is essentially a weakling, right? An absolute walk in the park." Before anyone could answer, the announcer's magically amplified voice violently shook the stadium once again. "The mighty combatants have entered the grand stage, possessing a pathetic civilization rank of 12,700, an abysmal, bottom-tier mortal realm. With their backs against the wall and no path of retreat left, presenting the representative of Earth, Marcel." Grog's jaw dropped as he whipped his head around. "Who in the hell is that nobody? That is definitely not the supreme being supposed to represent your planet." Panong crossed his arms, his eyes gleaming with ancient wisdom. His inner core must still be severely damaged. He hasn't fully healed. Lena stared at Panong in absolute shock. "How could you possibly read his state?" Panong slowly raised his wrist, revealing a glowing metallic band. "Do you recognize this cursed artifact, Lena?" she gasped, her eyes widening in horror as realization struck. "Wait, is that a power-suppressing divine seal?" Panong gritted his teeth, his aura flaring with hidden rage. "Exactly. When I awoke from the healing chamber, this wretched thing was chained to my wrist. Depending on a warrior's cultivation level, its shape and binding location changes. But mark my words, that earthling is definitely bound by one too. Search your memories. Was there anything unnatural about his physical vessel?" Lena desperately racked her brain, holding her chin in deep contemplation. "Something unnatural. Wait a minute. I remember now. There was a dark, ominous collar securely fastened around his neck. Could that have been the ultimate seal?" The main character, utterly confused by this cosmic lore, turned to her. "What exactly is a power-suppressing seal anyway?" Lena's expression turned incredibly grim as she explained. "Just as the name implies, it is an ancient shackle forged to seal away cosmo force. Some heavenly techniques are so devastatingly lethal, just a fraction of a second of activation could obliterate thousands of lives. Higher realms possessing the cosmo force are strictly forbidden from wandering other planets without these limiters." Panong glared at his own shackled wrist with bitter resentment. "And to make matters worse, the restrictive seals placed upon tournament fighters cannot be removed under any circumstances, except during official death matches." The main character's mind instantly flashed to Jin's terrifying prowess. "Hold on a second. Are you telling me that the overwhelming strength he used wasn't just mortal martial arts?" Lena nodded gravely. "Correct. I theorize it is the cosmo force of supreme regeneration, an extraordinarily rare divine lineage, though deeply feared across the heavens." But deep within her mind, a storm of suspicion was violently brewing. Yet, the absurd abilities Jin described regarding the Earthlings, they defy the very laws of cosmo force. It makes absolutely no logical sense. During the eons, the Demon King Jin was sealed away in slumber. Just what kind of heaven-defying evolution took place on Earth before she could unravel the terrifying mystery? The announcer's roaring voice shattered her concentration. "Now, Prepare yourselves for the arrival of our next bloodthirsty challenger, a warrior forged in the absolute worst, most hellish ecosystem within this boundless cosmos, hailing from a monstrous race that conquered the apocalypse itself. With a terrifying civilization rank of 1,320, give it up for the barbaric representative. Down in the shadows, a towering brute radiating immense murderous intent grabbed a small child. Hey you! Use your spiritual sense right now and confirm if that weakling is truly the Earthling. The terrified boy scrambled forward, trembling like a leaf. Yes, right away, my lord. He forcefully channeled his mana, awakening his heavenly eye. Peering straight through Marcel's disguise, he stammered. The mask blocks my divine sight. But the weak mortal aura is a perfect match. All Earthling vessels possess this exact fragile constitution. The rumors of the mortal realm sending a sacrifice were completely true. The colossal brute cracked a sinister, blood-chilling grin. A malevolent aura leaked from his pores. So it really is that arrogant piece of trash? Meanwhile, the arena was absolutely exploding with deafening cheers. A manic chant echoed throughout the heavens. 𝒌𝒄𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔! 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 But stepping out of the shadows was the brute, lazily tossing 3 ancient stone beads. As his massive, shadow-drenched figure stepped into the blinding light, the entire stadium instantly froze in absolute, chilling silence. Completely oblivious to the wrong person standing there, the announcer screamed, "Here comes the mighty 𝒌𝒄𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔!" But chaotic murmurs rippled through the grandstands like wildfire, as the hulking monster strode into the blood-stained ring. "Wait, that's not our champion. Who in the hell is that giant?" The announcer finally realized the catastrophic error. Outraged by this blatant disrespect for the arena's sacred laws, the announcer unleashed his fury. "Who the hell do you think you are, trash? How dare you interfere with a sanctioned cosmic duel?" The brute simply threw his head back and laughed maniacally. "I am Tinkus, the supreme representative of the PC race, rank 1,300. Up in the stands, the main character's blood ran cold. "Team leader, did he just say the PC race? Isn't that—" But the enraged announcer cut him off. "What kind of absolute nonsense is this? I didn't ask for your damn life story, you arrogant bug. Cease this mockery immediately. Guards, drag the real combatant out here." Yet Tinkus just flashed a demonically playful smile. Oh, what a tragedy. It seems the mighty 𝒌𝒄𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔 is physically incapable of fighting today. So why not let this humble servant take his place and paint the arena red? The spectators violently erupted into a volcanic rage. Venomous curses rained down like a meteor shower. "What kind of demonic nonsense are you spewing in our sacred battleground? Get the hell out of there, you worthless scum. What did you do to our champion, you bastard? Who is this absolute lunatic?" Suddenly, the announcer unleashed a terrifying shockwave of spiritual energy. "Silence!" The haunting, demonic command instantly crushed the crowd, forcing them to their knees in agonizing pain. "Smash!" He slammed his fist, shattering the solid stone desk. Radiating pure, unadulterated killing intent, the announcer glared down at Tinkus. "Listen closely, you insignificant worm. You better think very carefully about your next mortal words." Entirely unbothered by the crushing aura, Tinkus arrogantly picked his ear. My, how scary. "Fine then. Let's cut straight to the bloody chase." With a vicious sneer, he pointed a single, accusatory finger directly at Marcel. His voice roared like thunder across the Colosseum. Because he possesses the sacred tournament token, he is immune to the law's judgment. But that pathetic earthling standing right there is the cold-blooded monster who mercilessly slaughtered my innocent brethren. A shockwave of absolute disbelief rocked the entire arena. Whispers of madness spread through the crowd. A mortal earthling? Slaying warriors of the PC realm? That defies the very laws of heaven. It's completely impossible. But Tinkus continued his venomous tirade. "I know it sounds like a twisted fable to your ears, but as the heavens are my witness, we were all restrained by the divine suppression seals. That demonic coward exploited our weakened cultivation state. He butchered them like defenseless sheep. He bathed in the blood of my innocent clan. I beseech the heavens of this arena. Grant me the divine right of blood vengeance against that treacherous murderer." The announcer's eyes widened in sheer horror. "What in the cosmos? Are you speaking the truth?" A terrifying memory suddenly flashed in the announcer's mind. The completely obliterated promotional zone back in Sector 2. Trembling with dread, the main character grabbed Lena's arm. "Team leader, we have a massive problem. You are speaking absolute nonsense." But she quickly regained her composure. "Whatever. Do not worry about it. Realistically speaking, there is no way a monstrous entity like him would accept their suicidal offer anyway. However, The very second those words left her mouth, the arena's twisted host made a booming announcement. Very well. This anomaly is permitted to enter the deathmatch in his place. Lena froze, her soul practically leaving her body in sheer disbelief. Up above, the sinister host was grinning like an absolute psychopath. A foolish warrior stepping into another man's slaughter just to avenge his fallen kin. He laughed maniacally. Oh, this bloodbath is going to be infinitely more entertaining than watching those pathetic insects crawling around in the dirt. Enraged by the sudden twist of fate, Lena screamed at the top of her lungs. What the hell did you just say? Hold on a second. Meanwhile, Mac was shaking like a leaf, desperately trying to stop her suicidal outbursts. Boss, please. You are going to get us all killed. Just then, a furious warrior from the bee tribe leaped to his feet. He pointed a trembling finger at the sadistic host and roared, "This is outrageous. What is going to happen to our glorious tribe now?" But before he could even finish his sentence, bang! Without a single warning, the man's head exploded like a crushed watermelon. Blood and bone fragments rained down on the horrified spectators. Paralyzed by the gruesome execution, Mac frantically slammed Lena to the blood-soaked floor. "Keep your head down, you idiot." With the opposition brutally silenced, the host cleared his throat, reveling in the absolute terror. "Now then, this little deathmatch has been delayed for far too long. The bloodshed shall resume immediately. By my own supreme authority, I present the new challenger stepping in for the disgraced tribe. Facing him is rank 1300 of the Civilization Index, the representative of the almighty pixie race, hailing from the most terrifying mechanical empire in the entire universe. The merciless executioner, 𝒕𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒕𝒆𝒔. This human anomaly has thrown his life away for the sake of vengeance. But will his ancient power be enough to avenge his fallen brethren? Or will he be violently dismantled? Let the ultimate slaughter commence.